This is my second part of my first route playing Heaven Will Be Mine. This is my first time playing the game. I only know what has happened so far, which has been a lot, admittedly. We've been following Saturn's story, and I guess I can show our alignment chart. That'll give some context to what we've done. We're mostly leaning towards celestial mechanics so far, but we have done some betrayal shenanigans along the way because I couldn't help myself and I wanted to see the stories that I wanted to see. So I actually don't know which ending we're going to end up with because I've decided to throw caution to the wind and just read the stories that sound the most interesting to me at the time. Let's see, the last thing that we did yesterday, I think, was have a moment with Pluto that was very sweet. And we did read our mail alerts, but it was so late, I might as well at least kind of skim through them one more time before we dive in today. So we have this email from Nick. So they're talking about this switch between using children as pilots to using adults. Let's see. Gravitational forces of children are weak. As cancer that exerts a subtle influence in the back of our unknowing minds. The Memorial Foundation is pushed against traditional cultural institutions for engaging existential threats. All right. And then the last thing from the Memorial Foundation, Celestial Mechanics. No different from my former colleagues. I think we all want the same thing. Many of us are thankful for the ending of the Cold War, but I think some of us must have some reservation about the future. We're looking for the smoothest, most uncontested future. This will not ensure happiness for everyone. Just real great people. All right, I have not read the comms. I usually was reading Mercury's chat logs before reading the mail alerts. I've been told probably should swap the order of how I was doing it, so I will keep that in mind. But now we get to chat with Mercury. Do you think about Neith still? That's out of nowhere. I think about them every day, obviously. They're the reason celestial mechanics exists. First to understand what happened to them, and then because we couldn't stop thinking about it. About how to make what happened to them happen to us. We still don't know what it was exactly. They had us all get together to reach through space and time and contact the existential threat wherever it came from. To make sure that it truly had been defeated for good. I think they were really hoping it wasn't. We felt the same, especially us, who never got to fight yet. We reached together as far as we could. And Neith reached farther than anyone. I didn't think it would have been them before anyone else. But I didn't know them. Was it that they needed, or was it that they reached too far? Or what? Or something reached to them? What's the difference? In the end, they got it. Whatever it was. Are you having second thoughts? Maybe. They were the only one. I always wondered why that was. Were they special? In a good way or a bad way? Were they chosen? What would be the criteria? We know it's none of that, though. Just a lonely, unchosen child. Without so little presence in this world, they fell into another one. It's how it is. The only trick is how to do it on purpose. That's just it. Are we too attached? I want to be something new and share it with everyone. Am I too heavy for the apple? It's a thin line between falling into inverse because you have hope and because you don't have any left. We should be glad it's not so easy, you know. Interesting. Okay. So here are our 2 missions for this day. We have the acceleration due to gravity. Celestial mechanics and Cradle's graces have one thing in common, and that's escaping Earth's gravity. To do that, they need Saturn and Pluto to work together to corrupt the lunar gravity well. It's an opportunity for one to get the upper hand over the other, but they're not thinking about it politically. And plastic versus metal, Earth has promised to let the children of space sort themselves out for now, but their machines of war guard the way back home, just in case. When Saturn and Lunaterra meet in a chance encounter, the true terror of humanity stares them down. Ooh. That sounds super ominous. I think I'm going to save that to do second, and we're going to come back to Pluto. How's the new equipment fitting? It's not that much weirder than it was before. This mission really is a weird one, Mercury. This was always the plan, you know that. The lunar gravity well is the anchor that all tidal reactors resonate with. It's how ship cells maintain their form, how colonies on other planets and orbital bases and ships maintain environments humans can survive in. Gravity, in both the literal and figurative senses, is required for us to live in space, and without it, we dissolve into the universe, become everything that humans aren't. There's a lot of that in the universe, if you've noticed. If we want to turn it into something interesting and specific, we have to make sure that we're controlling the aversion process. Is it going to work? Probably not. I wouldn't trust Iapetus to do this right. There's nothing in it for him, so why would he care? When he lived on Earth, he had everything he wanted. He isn't like anyone else who came to space. He's just flirting with the idea of transcending human limits for boring reasons, and only for his. There are no places left on Earth to conquer, so he wants to be first to own the future. If this actually works, I don't want to share it with him. Oh, you don't have to worry about that. I told you, I was playing this how I wanted, right? I'm not letting him have this. Oh. So Saturn tempts Pluto to fall in with her, or Pluto tempts Saturn to entertain a silly dream. You know what? Last time I chose betrayal, but I'm going to choose loyal this time, because I am curious about this one, about how this could work. On the lunar South Pole, the moon's first city glitters mundanely, so ordinary. It's hard to believe it's not just another site on Earth. The Lagrange colony was destroyed. The Ares colony was stillborn. But Earth's satellite is almost as much Earth as Earth is. So we have the authority to name Earth's satellite the moon, part of our body, the native sphere, and not foreign, unknown Luna. Even if the space program is ended, the moon will remain part of Earth as it once was, before a cosmic event tore it from Earth. Reclaiming the moon was a historically and existentially important event for all of us. Except for this impossible tower on an impossible mountain in a point of eternal light, which is not so earthly yet. The gravity well is suspended directly above the tower's point, resonating with Earth, to keep every wayward human in space grounded. The moon has been taught almost all of the Earth's gravity, but not quite. There is still some possibility left. You're quiet. Are you up to something? What makes you say that? The tilde, but also everything else. Hey, I'm being very sneaky here. The string of pearls and Kroon macula circle around the small, glimmering void of the gravity well. For all the good it might do, Celestial Mechanics and Cradle's Grace's capital ships are standing by. Just not too close. Who knows what could happen? I should be suspicious, shouldn't I? I think you must have some sort of evil plan. Of course. You should always be suspicious. I'm shifty. I'm here to get the upper hand. Good. That's why I'm here too. Still, I don't mind if it's your evil plan that finally succeeds as long as it's yours. You're trying to fluster me. Try harder. I mean, it is working. I just want to get flustered more. You're in a really good mood. So I'm extra worried. More worried to be working with you than all the times fighting you. Not in a bad way, though. The gravity well is a massive engine, and it is very stable. To destabilize it is very dangerous to everyone and everything, which is why they're opening it. The escorting operational platforms from Cradle Graces and Celestial Mechanics tonelessly coordinate with each other to instruct Saturn and Pluto in preparations, like exes that are forced to attend an event for their children together, because that's what they are. Now you're the one who's quiet. I wasn't in a good mood. Did I tease you too much? Oh no. I just was remembering something. Do you remember this too? We did something like this before, a long time ago. We did? Together? I only saw you a little bit back on campus. It was kind of a weird time. You seemed really far away then, more so than now, and we weren't there that long. For the third generation, they wanted to kickstart the process, you know. Not a whole childhood of care and attention, but condensed chemically assisted cybernetic enhanced growth. They wanted us to go from nothing to perfect. I guess by that standard, we didn't fall as short as we could have. Unfolding dimensional chords. Begin torque acceleration. They were hard times. You know I was really bad at first, right? Not just terrible at all the classes, all the tests, all the work, but I wasn't obedient or likable either. I was super annoying. It still feels like that's me most of the time. It can't be true. Of course it's true. I wouldn't have tried so hard if I hadn't been like that at first. When I first got here, I knew I was lucky and should have been so much happier than I was on Earth, but everything felt wrong. It took a long time for those memories to turn happy. Containing stray particles, establishing net, was the opposite for me. At first, I loved being a science experiment, but I guess it would have been different for you. I didn't think about that. But you made it sound like we met each other before. Enabling physical canceller, limit off. I'm good at remembering people. There's not many of us, so it's not that hard, but I remember you. You looked like you started out perfect. You know, I was a little jealous of you. I'm not surprised you don't remember the one thing we did together. Everyone was there, and we were just thinking about what happened and not anything else. Oh, you're talking about... yeah, that. We were all there, so of course you were there. I didn't think about that either. Nyx, Iapetus, and Europa all wanted the space program to justify its existence. Earth didn't agree. The alien threat that we defeated with such ease wasn't even worth it. Just a shadow created by waves of humanity in space. A color and a light that fought us and never came into focus. So they had us all come together over the gravity well, just like this, to see if we could pull whatever they were more fully into our universe. And then it went so wrong. That was when the space program really ended, wasn't it? We never should have done it. It was risky, and no one knew what they were doing, and everyone was desperate. I don't know. Maybe Neith doesn't feel the same. The tiny point of glimmering darkness in the gravity well sometimes shines in such a way that for a moment, it seems like there's something inside it. I hope that's true. I want to believe it. I can't blame them for what happened, though, either way. Really, though? What do you mean can't blame them? I mean, they were the one who gave in, right? When most people talk about what Neith did or what happened, when they turned inside out in the light of the gravity well, It was as if it was a horrible accident. Not something they did on purpose. Why do you talk about it like it was? I just had this feeling. I didn't really know Neith at all. No, maybe I should just be honest. For a second, I was thinking the same thing. What if I jump in? I thought the same thing. We could have been like them. During the testing, when we saw the gravity well opening before us, we could have jumped in too, if we wanted to. It was scary. It was. But a lot of us looked at that, and after, we thought, us too. And that was how celestial mechanics was born. That's the truth. Whatever Iapetus really wants aside, we have our own ideas. That's amazing. I couldn't be so brave. When Earth looked at that emerged, they were filled with despair. So that's how I decided to feel too. After all, it was proof that the existential threat was the same thing it's always been, the same thing we've been fighting as long as humans have been humans. The shadow of possibility cast by us. The not quite there aliens we had fought for so long were just caused by our ripples in space-time. We only had ourselves to lose, and nothing to gain by fighting them. Where Neith went and what they became, only Venus knows. What did you really feel in that moment, before you told yourself otherwise? I'll tell you how I felt. I felt smug. I mean, I did everything right, and that loser messed it up. When I learned it was the end of the program, I was mad. But when they demoted me from piloting anyway, I realized I was the fool. It was an important lesson on not being a good girl. Stabilizing reaction, synchronicity perfect, hold until stable. I feel like I know you a little better now, Saturn. Me too, in a new kind of way. Now you, what did you really feel? The gravity well opens. The reactor is turned inside out, from shining white to infinite black, drawing in all that is and emitting all that isn't, yet. But with gravity itself, the weight we have in the universe, that alone is all we need to touch. Oh, there you are. I knew we'd only get a moment to touch. Do you, maybe, think sometimes of falling in? Even you? You must have thought about it. Core resonance in perfect conditions, ready for full release. Gravity well unbound, all stability checks nominal. Here it comes. Back then, I almost did jump in. I thought about it before it was happening, when they said, you must not, under any circumstances. It would make anything I couldn't do possible if I left everything I had behind. It's an awful paradox of a deal, but I wanted to do it so much I would have if Neith hadn't wanted it 1 second more. I've never told anyone that. You're really good at seducing people, Saturn. If I gave you the chance to fall in again, would you? Would you fall in with me? Oh, just you wait and see. The gravity well shines. It's collapsing into a star. Everything is starting. The opening was peaceful, perfect, no problems. Yet there is a feeling, like the fluttering of wings deep down. Now, you just missed the first mission from what we started last night. Okay, we have mail, so gotta read that. Toffee, it is not food time. I just started. Alright, why children? Pilot program training documentation leaked from the Memorial Foundation Native Sphere archives. By the end of the space program, with recruitment having stopped almost a decade before the official decommissioning of the space program, all the pilots had become adults. Yet, they were recruited as children and spent the fiercest years of fighting against the existential threat as children. Much like criticisms levied at the scout programs on Earth, it was a motion that Memorial Foundation considered heavily in deciding how to recruit their pilots. Children have no special piloting qualities. They have much weaker tidal authority than adults, who of course have the tidal authority to engage other adults. Adults would be stronger, more powerfully able to use ship selves, much more so the beloved and chosen adults rather than the discarded and flawed children that were chosen. On Earth, adults with much stronger tidal forces than children will destroy the existential threat before even comprehending it. And because of this, those threats are able to hide in the world and prey on those who are more weak, such as children, or those who are unchosen, even as adults. Those who are strong enough should struggle with those humans, and those who are weaker to protect the rest from the trivial threats outside humanity. Sustained contact with the existential threat often exacerbates this effect, and there is a cold, twofold reason for delegating who will and who will not confront existential threats. Children and the unchosen bear the burden, so adults will not be borne away. I noticed you started and once again rushed off to grab food while I was procrastinating. Alright, so let's once more chat with Mercury. Everything is ready for you. I wish you would let me help you more. You'll be fine back home. Without a ship. I envy you a little bit. Piloting is for girls and jocks. It's not my thing. But I wish I was coming with you. Sometimes, a very, very tiny bit. Mercury. We're very different. But I love you. We're parts of the same thing. We wanted the same things. And I'll walk alongside you until we get them. Really? You're not leaving, possibly forever? If I'm leaving, you're coming with me. If I stay, I'll bring you home. You know you can't rely on me for anything, but you can count on me for this. I promise. I promise. You promised me with correct punctuation and capitalization? So you know it's real. What else can I do to pay you back? Nothing. I count on you for a lot, Saturn. The same way you count on me. Ah, that was sweet. Alright. Plastic versus metal. Spinning up tidal reactor. Frequency double checks. First turn. 100%. Frequency double checks. Second turn. Stop and spin them again. From 0, again. Where were they at? 99.99999%. But it doesn't matter. They should be at 100%, so we're spinning them again. Mercury. If I go out and die, it's not going to be because we didn't quintuple check every reactor pulse. Saturn. This time, please. Could you listen for once? No matter how useless I know that telling you this is, I know I say this over and over. But you can listen. Seriously. Tell me you're going to not be risky this time. It's not a game anymore. This mission is different. It's not ship self to ship self. Those troops are real weapons from Earth, designed for threats that are real, not existential. They are perfectly capable of killing. They are designed for no other purpose. That's not going to even be an issue, though, because your orders are strictly to observe and not get remotely close enough to engage. They won't leave stationary orbit around the near side of the moon. They're Earth's insurance plan, and we can ignore them as soon as we make sure that's all they are doing. Don't joke about dying. That can happen. It won't if everything is perfect and you do exactly what you're supposed to do. It finally matters this time, and you... Mercury. Mercury. Please. I'm Well, I'm actually really sorry, Mercury. I didn't mean to make you worry. I mean, I didn't make you really worry for real. I promise, I'm not trying to die, okay? I promise, okay? Making poor choices about who to kiss and what to do isn't the same thing. I listen to you when it's for real, okay? I wouldn't cross the line. You're my friend. No one else. No one else is worth you. You're the most important. We've been through too much. I would never, ever go back or throw everything we've got away. You know that, right? Sorry I'm acting like I forgot. Mercury? Hey, say something. You idiot. Give me a minute. Damn it. I was going to act like I tricked you. I was going to get to feel smug making you think everything was serious and I was going to lord it over you. No, I'm crying, asshole. Sorry about me, but I love you too. Don't worry. Aw, that was really sweet. And hi, God Empress. How are you doing? This is our second choice for the day because I did Pluto's earlier. So it's either they hide together in the peaceful moon's winter night. Aw, that sounds lovely. Or risk dying tearing that machine to pieces. Oh no. Okay. So the risk is the loyal part and the hide is the betrayal part. Oh no. Okay, what do I do? Punch a cop. I mean, it's tempting. I feel like you always say that and then I just get tempted to do it because you make it sound so nice. As ever, they're both good. Oh gosh. Because it's like one of them you get this sweet moment with Lunaterra and the other one chaos ensues. I love that the Saturn choice is, oh, there's a robot cop. I need to fuck it up. They're both sweet moments, honestly. Oh, God, okay. I know we're pretty far along in the loyalty route at this point because the last choice that I made was also loyal. It's more like low intensity versus high intensity. I did my best not to state my preference so as not to influence anyone else. Because it's like on the one hand, Saturn was just promising Mercury not to do something crazy, but on the other hand, that's exactly what Saturn would do. I'm not opposed to vaguely influencing, but I never want to actually tell people what to do because, you know, yeah, unless somebody says, like, tell me which one I should pick. Okay, I want to be true to Saturn. Let's fuck it up. Whoa, it seems almost like it can't be a coincidence bumping into you again. Fancy seeing you here, pumpkin, jumping on the desk. Okay, I need you. You're very cute. You're very, very cute, but you're interrupting. Let me at least rearrange the desk so that I can read this without being interrupted. Fancy seeing you in here. A likely story, but please stay down. It's closing in. The thing wants to murder us very badly. It wants to kill. Yep. Aren't you itching to fight it? The autonomous military unit is waiting for opportunities, it seems, but it's really just reacting to conditions and responding with protocol. It's inevitability, gravity, law. Humans can be pretty unambiguous, which is why, if you want something done precisely, you must teach it only a sliver of what humans know. If you want someone dead without complication, you need to remove nuance first. It doesn't have any of morality system or decision-making process. It's very non-discriminatory, just gravity and nothing else. It's a gun and not much else. So maybe you should stop harassing it so much. It's annoying though. I want to bully it. I promised that I wouldn't tangle with something if it wasn't really life or death. But now that I'm here, I'm too tempted. I just absolutely want to tear it to pieces. Completely destroy, like it wants to destroy me. You ever feel like that? Even when you're terrified? Especially then. But it's not worth fighting. Not at all. Even a little. It's like fighting gravity, or a whole planet. What can you call winning against something like that? There are a million more. You can't have a real argument like something like that. They sent autonomous troops because they didn't want to have one in the first place. It just goes to show they really don't care what happens to space or anyone in it. Or they do. And they want this badly to believe they don't. You're going to hate this, but it makes me wish I could crush them even more. Sorry. There has to be a way, right? Unlike a ship self, the autonomous military unit doesn't have a shape that remotely resembles a person. There's no need for that, obviously. You would give something human shape only if you wanted it to be able to express the fullness of being a human. War has never been fought like that. Military technology is designed to narrow available resources in order to efficiently execute a single specific function. Giant robots have never been practical for war. What is necessary is a single vector pointed in an uncertain, inflexible, fixed direction. The autonomous military unit may not look human, but it is human. A single, uncomplicated human thought. Die. I'm worried that telling you this will just encourage you, so I shouldn't. Feels like a bad idea. But they're not invincible or almighty against us, even if they're incredibly, overwhelmingly powerful, especially here, in the liminal zones of the moon, but not ever, not anywhere. It's nice to hear even you get mad about it. I understand the math, risking our lives and our personhood, and they're not. It's very one-sided. Humans are cowards. And that makes me want to fight even more. I'm saying it's not worth it. The statement will be lost on Earth. They've got endless number of drones. But you can destroy them, right? I'm not asking if there's a point. I don't care about that. I'm asking if we can. Let me know how you did it, right? Because you have. You really don't know, Saturn. You just don't. And you never will. You can wish and fight and fight. But Earth will never let us go. 9.8 ms to the second power is what we are bound to. Your weight and mine, nothing compared to that speed. We can't even scratch the surface. But you are right. It was stupid. But when I was with Cradle's Graces, I destroyed them. Pluto made me promise to never risk my life over something like that again. It's a huge brag, but given all that, kind of a crazy thing to do. Why? Not that I think it doesn't rule. I was feeling the same way you were feeling, pure spite. Not quite as bad as anymore. At least I'm trying not to be. I know that feeling. It's easy to bet your life when you don't care whether you lose it or not. If we fight together, we'll be betting on each other. It doubles the risk, and there's still no point. Is there really no point to it, though? Useless. Okay, that's true, but not pointless. You're so clever, Lunatera, but you have outsmart yourself. And now you're believing there's no meaning in fighting against that blind and unstoppable force. I definitely know what battles I want to fight. The senseless eye of the autonomous weapon fixates on their location, but the string of pearls doesn't give it to them to get inquisitive. Saturn's closing the distance, cheating distances. It reflexively attempts to close the distance too, but its calculations seem to be constantly just off. Saturn, come back. What did I say? Were you listening to yourself? Aren't we doing this? You need to prove my point, or what? It's no big deal for you, right? You've done it before, right? It'll be twice as easy now. So don't make me fight it alone. That'll be fucked up. It'll be heroic if it's the two of us. So come on, enable me. Don't you want me to not end up like you? Don't you want to not want to end up like you? The autonomous military unit is extremely simple. It fires a simple burst of metal directly at a cockpit, particle unaffected by gravity, instantly lethal. It takes all the drama and expression out of fighting, the ultimate anticlimax. That's why true combat is ugly, arbitrary, horrifying, a struggle for power in absolute terms, not a romance like fighting in a perfect body can be. It's only because you did something so stupid that I'm joining you. A blue, elusive streak, unmistakable but impossible to pin down, follows Saturn. Liar, fake, hypocrite. You've never smiled as much before as you are right now. Against even a single autonomous unit, not dying starts out hard and keeps getting harder. Saturn can cheat the distance. It's the reason she isn't instantly dead. Their targeting is flawless and predictive, based on clear indentations made in space, time, culture, by gravity. But Saturn just cheats. Every time she changes the math, and every time it adjusts to correct and keeps getting smarter and harder. Still, Saturn does the math better than it can. Lunatera will die if she thinks to herself about what's happening for even a single second. So she doesn't. She verbs instead. Do this, do that. Make it real, make it happen. Don't think or blink. Simply, impossibly, always be doing, always be being, don't get hit and never die. Nothing like life or death to remind you that being alive is great. And in that state, you can become infinitely capable of fighting tooth and nail, no matter what. When Mare Crisium's hard light slug hits the unit's chassis, it miscalculates, dips in motion, but it's undeterred. It can endure much more than that. Lunatera respects that and fires 12 dozen more, as point blank as possible. No time for mercy. So increase the output, more than should be possible. Defensive insulation keeps it protected from the string of pearls electrotoxins. All the string of pearls can leave is a series of bleeding, oozing, hot pink pinpricks. Nothing but scratches, until there are so many of them they aren't just scratches anymore. There's no limit to how mean she can get. It's something else, fighting like this. I wasn't ready. You're doing amazing. You're unreal. You have to be, otherwise you're dead. So don't let up. Don't stop. Keep going. It's the only way. Every approach and hit counts. You've got to be perfect. The autonomous military unit is fast, faster than either of them, but isn't faster than coincidence. It's not fast enough to predict someone who's not even thinking, and it's not faster than cheating. Saturn works her whole hand into its guts and comes out with a fistful. It has dozens of redundant components designed to withstand unreal trauma and continue fighting, but there's a slight delay as the failsafe switches circuits. That moment is enough time for Lunatera to plunge her iridescent blade into flailing sensors that burn into white light. Even torn in half, ripping apart both ways apart by a division of light and dark, undone, the autonomous unit still moves. The only way they will win is to be completely thorough. pull the guts out every which way, never show mercy, and never let go until they've bathed in it, head to toe. At the end, they don't even realize when the moment came, then that they were still alive, that they had won. Are you finally satisfied? God, it was worse than I remembered. No idea how I did it alone. I feel incredible, beyond satisfied. If I didn't feel almost dead, I'd be begging you to do it all over again. I knew it just encouraged you. Shows the good it did. You know, Lunatera, I'm fighting, no matter what, no matter who wins. I know the best I can hope for is half of what I want. But I'm not here for a realistic outcome. Even if that's all we get, I'm just going to fight, forever, with perfect greed, until I get everything. I don't know if I can be it can be that cool, but when it comes down to it, I won't stop either. Wow, that was a lot. It got hard to read because I just was so into the music. Okay, what did I miss? I really need to keep up on my hand stretches for type. I do like how both of these girls are like, someone I love and respect who cares for me very much specifically asked me to not do this, and then they're both here deciding to do exactly that anyway. Don't you not want to end up like you? That was such a good line. It definitely pulled her into doing it. Which just makes me think of Saturn and Lunatera revealing what they did, or Pluto reading it off the narration and being sorry. I don't know if game audio is coming through now that you mentioned music. Oh no! Is it really not coming out? Let me check OBS. It is on. Maybe it's just a little quiet. Yeah, it's just very quiet. Okay, I'm going to balance it a little bit better. It's very loud in my headphones though. There was much stimming happening. Okay, so we're with Iapetus now. Well then, I'm quite impressed. You don't even sound surprised with how much I fucked everything up. Thought I'd get to see you surprised for once. If you had this much faith in me, you shouldn't have got so mad. I wouldn't be respecting you very much if I wasn't prepared with contingency plans. But I'm delighted to not need them. I thought so. I used to think you knew everything. Oh? Good to see you're understanding the fallibility of your superiors. Now I understand it's because you just don't have any experience not getting what you want. And you always are sure deep down it'll turn out for you. You wound me, no stranger to not getting what I want. The world would be a very different place if I did. No, Iapetus. Not even close. You've never even come close to not getting what you want like I have. Forgive me then. If you put it like that, I'm certainly much closer than you. But that's the reason for this arrangement, of course. You will all get the bodies you wanted so much. And Earth will have the villain it desires. Ah, so you are that clever. What of it? It's still a mutually beneficial scenario. You and humanity will be so different from each other that you could not possibly understand or communicate with each other. Both sides can fight each other with abandon until the end of time and never hurt those they love. You will have yours. We will have ours. If you have the will to abandon your own humanity, then abandoning the rest of the human race, who never cared for you in the slightest, should be trivial. You don't know how relieved that makes me to hear. You really don't understand, whether it's spite or love. No way I'm not sharing this gift. The fucking superiors thing always gets me, as if he's actually anyone's superior, least of all Saturn's at this point. Yeah, seriously, this guy sucks. Like, I knew that from all the emails and stuff, but like actually like having Saturn talk to him, it's just like, ugh. Alright, now that we're at a louder music point, let me know if the balancing is better this time. Fractal, he sucks. He sucks on every level in every possible way. Do you think he sucks, Pumpkin? You're being very cute. Oh, okay. Seems a bit quiet on stream, but maybe only by a notch. Okay, let me adjust it just a little bit more. Alright. The fleets crash. Ship self against ship self. In the shadow of the gravity well, none of it is visible from Earth. A quiet conflict, not a war, as has been stressed. It's more like a very pointed argument. It could be a conversation, if only they understood each other, and sometimes they do. It could be kissing, if they loved each other, and sometimes they do. With the gravity well open, unrestrained, they fight weightlessly, under the full weight of their own gravity alone. A truer way to fight than anyone had experienced before, to fight with one's own self and the full weight of one's gravity, in the hollow weight of inverse, is the only time this will be possible, our true power, unrestrained. Celestial mechanics simply takes advantage when no one else is looking. Celestial mechanics made no plans to win. After all, there's no way to win in this sort of conflict. The winner only has to prove a point. The way the celestial mechanics accomplishes this is simple. True to themselves, without the weight of gravity tying them to Earth, tying them to orbit, holding them in their human forms, what happens next is a natural result, and that's what proves their point. It isn't immediately clear anything is wrong. It happens naturally, as a consequence of truly unrestrained conflict. Each one climbing to the top, seeing how far their limits are, and realizing suddenly there aren't any. When the first pilot sends her reactor's limits past the theoretically possible range, her reactor alerts, and what only existed deep inside is now the true face she wears. A perfect, unbelievably true self, so true that it cannot exist even in orbit. Until she's joined by another, and another. In unison, their gravity holds them together. Guys, it looks so normy. Like this fucking guy. He looks like one of my former bosses or something. Good job, Saturn. It's exactly how I imagined. Not having second thoughts, are you? It's everything you wanted. And it will be good for Earth as well. Your infection of the gravity well was perfect. And you will successfully fuse with your ship self just like you wanted. It's for our happiness too, of course. Humans will get to live as humans, aliens as aliens. As enemies mutually agreed upon with no possibility of communication or reconciliation. And no conflict or guilt on our own sides. Humanity shouldn't externalize all of their problems, but I think we can still manage progression with most of them. And with your hands already sunk into the gravity well, I should tell you, it's technically too late. Things will take care of themselves from here, and thanks to your actions, I have had more than enough time to prepare for re-entry. I knew it would be that easy for you to ditch us. Not so. I still find you all so fascinating. Leading such beautiful lives. I have regrets, of course, but I have a real world to get back to. Not having regrets either. I'm only mad about how much you're underestimating me. Because you think I'm satisfied only getting what I want. and not greedy enough for more. Saturn breaks open her circuits and the aversion starts immediately. She can feel the gravity well pulling her inside out. The secret within humans to be pulled to the fore. She needs it, but not just yet. I wonder what it is you think you can do at this point. You've already conceded. Unless you're hoping for some reconciliation between humanity and the alien. That is, by definition, impossible. Must not be impossible, or you wouldn't be training all your weapons on me. Well, I am impressed because I finally have no idea what it is you are doing. But just because I don't understand doesn't mean I'm not going to prevent it. You have no understanding of what the violence of actual combat is, like under Earth's authority. Iapetus's Roncesvalles is equipped with certain features that allow it to divide and categorize. It's an abstract ability with a lot of applications, sophisticated and sinister, and the warrant of Earth itself behind it. So Lunaterra figures the best solution is to just shoot him. A lot. It's honestly a very good solution. Iapetus buckles, and whatever thing he thought he was doing, he isn't. Huh. Easy. It's because it's the hard part is coming next. Promise? You say that now. Thanks for going along, even though I didn't tell you anything. I know how to make the best of a bad ending. Hey, it's not anything worse than whatever you had planned, probably. So help me make the best of a bad end we can find. Pay attention or die. The intent is lethal and simple, but the weight is not heavy enough to kill. The string of pearls tears a hot pink scar through space-time. His bullets can go there. If you can come close enough to talk to me, you can come close enough to kill me. But I don't want either. I want to never see or know you throughout space and time. Indeed. So complete the transition. If you remain human, you'll die. I can ensure it. The autonomous military units come to an aid, but their sensors are off. Their movements are slow. Human gravity is losing its authority here, and their tools are useless. I could seriously, really use a little bit of help here. Well, if you're actually asking. Pluto unfolds the rhythm, she decodes the sequence. Plates shift, engines hum, her eyes open. So she opens up her other eye, biggest eye, big enough to swallow it whole, and then she blinks and swallows. She's got hungry eyes. Pluto's hands hold Saturn's tightly. I thought you promised me no bad endings. That's what I'm trying. It might really be working. This already feels too good. I really know what you mean now. Do you have an answer? Sort of counting on you for it. You think I know how to find the good future in all of this? Well, you're a good person. I need you to be the one not just thinking of just about us. The humans left behind, too. You think you wouldn't? I think you too much of me, and you too little of yourself. Iapetus has an answer. The story ends when the weapon that is designed without exception to kill does so, and forces a choice between one of two sides, human or alien, two distinct and incompatible worlds. The mathematical model needs to be perfect. It needs to allow for exchanges of matter, light, information, without allowing for understanding or communication. This is an extremely easy calculation to create. It's the oldest narrative there is. It's the one that Earth was told again and again and again. Iapetus has an extensive library to draw from, starting from the first moment humans separated light from dark. There is a way, and fuck off with this. We don't want it. Saturn throws that narration out. Why should it work like that? Why not make up something different? Who says physics works this way? Who says the calculations turn out that way? Iapetus wants us to take the fall. For everyone. For the Earth. For us to scapegoat each other. I hate that. If our cores collapse, a world where anything is possible arises, and at the same time, we will have closed off all the possibilities that make us human. The existential threat we always feared and hoped to unite us will be real, and they will finally have a real war. I want all of that, but I just want to add a little tiny bit extra to it. Iapetus wants to reduce the only information it will be possible to exchange between us to violence. But you want for something different to be exchanged. So that we can't hurt each other, but that we can something else with each other. It will have to be very small and very imprecise. At least it'll be something different, you know? There's no chance of going back to being human. Not zero chance. Although, we won't even remember what being human is, so it's pretty low, I guess. It's good enough for me. Let's hope it's good enough for us all. There's no limit to how big we can get. Size is a funny dream. It's relative. It doesn't have to matter anymore. It can be set like any other variable. As the gravity well draws matter towards it, and even light, it emits a not energy, a not light, that can perfectly make up a body just as well as all that. Big enough to be equal to the Earth, big and close enough to compete with the moon, to anchor in space and time equal division between us, to be a new and separate world. The autonomous units are single vectors, prepared for human violence, and we can't be cheated like that anymore. Only sad humans can have their gravitational impression in the universe terminated by the extinguishing of their bodies. They'll have to fight us on our terms if they want to get rid of us now, the way humans should fight, with no fear of ending. The consequences will be unimaginable. We aren't going to have selves or consciousness like we're used to having. That's what it means to give up humanity. We won't know who we are, and we might not understand or grasp each other anymore. That's true. You might not know how true that is. It's so true. The final mystery of what is human, what is alien, ever shifting, for all ground reclaimed by human lost to them. Humans have a lot. We'd only be able to imagine what it was like to be them. Okay, now Automat is being ridiculous. Hey, it's not all that bad though. Don't overestimate the human race. Do the math. If we lose how humans love each other, do you think there's ways to love each other that humans don't know yet? Do they really know every way there is to touch and know each other? Or is there still some more to learn? Maybe we're only scratching the surface. There are many roots. We don't understand each other in the same ways, but we'll understand each other in ways we never could. And we will now write a new story with our gravity, a new world. As we leave the level existence he insists on engaging us at, our tides push back, and Earth's tides, which no longer bind us, insist on him. What are you doing, hypocrite? You want to fight in the realm of heaven? Your place is on Earth. That's only to wonder at now. The story's ending twists. We are far away, another space and time. Watch us in the sky, but never touch. Until you find your answer on Earth, you'll never touch heaven. You know, no matter how bad you are at being human, there's no other way to be. It's really disappointing, but it's simply true. We just can't think in any other terms. You can say you want to not be human, but but can you actually make it happen? Forget even how to logistically, technically, philosophically make it happen. How do you blueprint it in the first place? Every time we try to imagine an alien, in the end, it's just ourselves from a different angle, because all we have are human beings. So the ambition to assemble them in an order that's alien to us is kind of inherently doomed. But that doesn't mean it's useless. Imagining that which is human, that humans are not. When I say I don't want to be human, what I really mean is, I can't stand being human like this. Emphasis on the like this. What I want instead is to be human like that. That was the beginning of the space dream. Everyone in the Memorial Foundation felt that way when they sent us here. And everyone on Earth who believed in us felt the same way. Let's be more human. How much more human can we be? That faith waned, maybe because they were jealous. Yet maybe also because the direction we were taking the future wasn't enough. Just another human that they didn't want to be. Or a sort of human that they're scared of being. I don't owe them anything, but there's one more thing I can't stand. Not being seen for what I am. So choose to come with us or choose to stay. But I won't be happy without them knowing what they're missing out on. Look up in the sky. See all the weird stuff we get to do with each other. And come join. Reactor collapse. Eversion event. The impulse, always deep and always lurking, to turn inside out. Everything has reversed. Nothing is the same. Giving up everything that isn't real for everything that is. So now they can't touch each other, can't lie in bed with each other, can't get legs entangled with each other. Instead, they have ways of physically interfering that aren't like anything we could imagine. Clouds of particles drift into each other. Maybe they touch through each other instead of just on the surface. It can be in a cold and gentle way, like through a ghost, or maybe a warm and gross way, like reaching into guts. Smiles communicated in physical light, an embrace of psychedelic mind matter. Lazy sex in a morning bed, except the bed is curvature of space-time and sex is something so obscene it would make your mind implode to consider it. The ship cell fused to the hide, the gravity reactor to the flesh, because humans have sciences to distinguish the differences between those things, and these new aliens don't. They don't have arts or sciences. They don't know what the differences are, and they won't know what they mean. But they will understand the difference between many other kinds of things that we do not understand. A real hero would have turned out differently. But that's not who we are. Our ships have mouths now, and they open, and they can scream. There can be sound in space. Now our vibrations can touch the things that aren't there. Humans know it's time to flee. The threat from within is now without, as they desired. The moon is no longer hospitable, as alien and mysterious as it was long before it was possible to reach it. Can't speak or write. Has other ways of communicating information. Can't use the old senses. Has new organs for it now. Can't love in the old ways. There are new ways of having that too. Laying together in the stars, we can do that though. The metaphor translates. That's what this is, indisputably. And everyone is invited who wants to become a world and never touch the earth. That's a different world now. Their strange intimacy can touch us even now, longing to teach us and tell us what they've learned, what they share, laughing without laughing with each other even now. They are so far away they can't even be our enemies, but they will break our hearts. It's a lovely night tonight. perfect knot for stargazing, because the light of the trinary system outshines them by far. But it's a perfect night to watch the three of them. Look, there's Lunaterra, the 2-in-1 rising almost full. She almost outshines the moon, a bridge between the Earth and the moon no one can cross. The nebula cloud of Pluto is a shimmering benevolent mystery, swallowing 1/8 of the sky in a permanent sort of twilight. And the glittering twinkle of Saturn, that tricks the edge of your sight this way and that, always seeming to be in the corner of your eye, but hard to see directly, and making the boundaries of your heart and mind ever so thin. We lay out our blankets and watch until someone catches us, and we run. But it's all fun and games until that day comes. They're waiting for us always. They just need 1 or 3 to reach out to them again, even if it's just a fight, to touch them once again. That was beautiful. Okay, I have a lot of chat to catch up on. Let's see. It's so good. Yeah, it really, really is. I'm super happy with that ending. Like, there's so much I want to go back to and like reread again, because there's just so many good moments there. Okay, so I love the feel sentiment of becoming yourself, modifying yourself, realizing you can do whatever you want with it, that I get from the various pilots, reverting. Yeah, absolutely. So many resonances there. Iapetus is a bog standard rich ass cishet white boy. Iapetus is the most bland generic scumbag and censored out to prevent certain fandom elements from trying to do what they usually do to absolute wretched scumbag villains. Oh, that's actually pretty funny as a reason for doing that. Like, no, we're not doing that here. Not this time. The true moral of heaven will be mine. When some asshole tries to divide and conquer queer community, you should shoot them a lot. Conrocula fuck so hard. Undo the division of day and night. There's so many good lines that happened. The please see me moment. Saturn's a very interesting parallel to Venus, even though I don't think she's usually the one people draw. I've been seeing so many parallels while reading this between characters. It's really, really interesting. That's why Saturn gets the honorary trans award. Yeah. Oh my gosh, that was really good. I'm glad that was the first one, but now I'm also like, how are we topping that? Because that was so good already. The way there's great fun too with the endings are masterpieces. Wow. Yeah. There's just I'm not super heavy into sci-fi. I'm like into light sci-fi or like just general speculative fiction, but we're topping that with Pluto, I assume. But anytime there is a story where it's like aliens but actually humans, they just gets me, obviously, given that I chose the username that I chose. Okay, I had a notification, but I don't see it yet. Killjill VT, hello, welcome to our stream. Been lurking for a bit, but hi. The CM ending makes me insane in a positive way. It was so good. It was the first route that I've played, and I'm still just like basking in how amazing it was. Just everybody coming together. I mean, it's just that kind of like also anime moment of like power of friendship. We're all coming together to destroy this evil thing. It's just so good. Everything about it is so good. Glad to see another Heaven Will Be My fan show up. I'm not repeatedly showing up for the same streams. I'm glad to help all three of you scratch that itch again. Watching someone play it brand new. Okay, So now we decide what to do next. Movie line lives in my brain all the time. It's one of the things that really pushed me to make things. Aw, that's great. I'm really loving it. It is definitely doing a lot to my brain right now. Even just the music alone, like, I think this music is gonna stay with me for a long time. It's just so good. But the characters too, and the themes that they're working with are just like, they tick all of the boxes of things that I really, really love reading about. Okay. Alec Lambert did such a killer job with it. It really did. It's so good. Sometimes it was hard to keep reading because I was like, I just want to sit and listen to the music because it's amazing. And the transition points in the music in the finale were so good. Like, it builds up in such a satisfying way. Alright. So where do we go from here? We could see more of Saturn and what other endings are like, or we could go somewhere completely different and see what Pluto or Luna Terra's roots look like. But I'm not sure which approach I want to take yet. I have cats circling me, please. Up to you. I'm withholding any of my bias on this one. Yes, Toffee. Well, given that if I were to do Saturn, I'd probably want to see all the ones that I didn't see. So I don't think it's necessarily going to take me any less time to play through a route. Except for like the emails and stuff. I don't know if I'll necessarily unlock new content in that regard. I'm glad you've been enjoying this. It's legitimately one of my favorite pieces of fiction. If I think about it too much, I start to tear up. Oh, how much it struck a chord with me. No, I definitely, I think if I've said this like in a previous stream, I think from when we were playing We Know the Devil, but if I was playing this by myself, I would probably be crying through a lot of it because I'm a very emotional person. But that being like, I have to read. Like, I need to keep it together. You know, I'm very curious what the other routes are like, so I do think we're going to hop into a new one. I do think it's best to do LT or Pluto rather than a Saturn rerun because more new stuff in a single run, but that's it. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking. I know there's new characters that we're going to encounter, and we're going to see the story from a pretty different perspective in hopping somewhere else. So I think I'm going to go with Pluto because I think we betrayed her a lot more compared to Luna Terra. Or not a lot more. I think it was pretty even by the end of it, but that's how it felt. But so I don't get interrupted, I'm going to take my 5-minute feed the cats break. That way I can just play through as much of Pluto's as I can get done tonight. So I will switch to our Be Right Back screen, and I will be right back. Alright, I'm back. So you can see a little bit more in chat. Really cool to hop into the other characters' perspectives after one of the playthroughs because it helps get into the meat of why they're the way they are. Yeah, definitely, because I know bits and pieces about Pluto and Luna Terra's story, but not nearly as much as I'm sure I'm about to. And it's just always interesting to shift focalizer because even if you're experiencing at its core the same narrative, you're going to have a very different perspective on it, which is interesting. Missions are based on the pair, so you'll hit every mission outcome. Oh, that's true too, because I'm not just going to get a revisiting of Saturn with these other two characters, but I'm going to get the two characters together that I haven't seen yet, which will be interesting too. Definitely an #1 spot in terms of video game narratives. I think it's worth checking out the other ending dialogues, whether by replaying or just reading them on the wiki. There's some really good stuff in there. Okay, great. Yeah, I'll probably end up doing all of them eventually, but at minimum, I want to play through each character at least once. Absolutely agreed on the other endings for the same character are also cool to see, but it's definitely more of the if you're curious and you want more after you've played each pilot territory. Yeah, got it. Okay, let's begin. Ooh. Is not the unknown the perception of impossible things and every distance in between, with perfect communication breath to breath, with perfect communication skin to skin, with perfect communication mouth to mouth, inside to inside, blood to blood, with perfect understanding across the bonds of culture. Scene hasn't changed. Oops. My bad. Alright, let me give it a second to boot up. We've only seen the one screen after hitting go, which is this bit of text. Okay, we should be good now. Yeah, I've done that at least once before. Normally I remember to change it, but I think I was just too excited to get back to it. Alright, where were we? With perfect understanding across the bonds of culture, with perfect access to the realization of the highest ideals, with perfect access to the acceptance of the deepest depths, the solar system maps the human body. The solar system maps culture. In the center is the sun, which is synesthesis. When the physical bodies of the solar system become our home, our ship through the universe, our body, their names will be given again from the name of a rock, such as Hades, to the name of a part of us and ourselves, such as Pluto. You are the sun. Through you, humans will possess their true body. As you were once born, through us, we too wish. Base override system interrupt. Pluto. Hi, Doctor. I lost you for a moment there. Are you okay? I'm fine, Doctor. This is the first interface of its kind. If there is anything unusual about it, that will be hard to tell. Because by definition, it is very unusual. I'll let you know if it feels especially unusual next. Good. Let me know if something categorically impossible happens. Like what? If your sink gets so deep that your thoughts were being dumped into the OS code directly, for example. If that happens, I'll let you know. Are you ready to begin? I've been ready for a long time. Begin activation test. Macula firmware loading. Dual tidal reactor syncing. She said lying. Welcome to Cradle Grace's bootloader. OYOYCI. I'm not going to read the rest of the numbers. OYY can't I? Bootlegging gravitational reactor. Done. Hyperdensity established. Done. Beginning resonance test. You should feel lightheadedness and wait. Wait until you're comfortable before diving in. Correct action, correct thought, correct belief. Existing without fault, existing without ever harming the universe. To be the execution of what is right and good. The power over distance is also the power to harm. Harm by thinking, harm by breathing, harm by loving, harm by touching, harm by culture, harm by boundaries, harm by idealism, harm by depression, harm by infinity. Let us talk by harm of infinity. If the 9th planet in the solar system is not a planet, it is because it represents the point at which humans cross over into that which they are not. A phenomenon that is itself existentially threatening, regardless of how or if that phenomenon manifests. That is the sea of possibilities itself. All hopes and fears will. Pluto. How was the response? I'm doing great. Nothing weird. Like a computer, I accept it. All data, I accept it. All wishes, I accept them. I am an infinite engine. I am a star. I know exactly how, execute, and accept. System accepting and executing. Reactor core's perfect resonance. No margin of error. Nix, you can hear me, right? Loud and clear, Pluto. Is it working? You're not saying anything. It's working perfectly. Flawless. The first try. You really are the one who brings impossible things. You're thinking too hard about it, Doctor. I can't do things like that. Be a little more generous to yourself. But it's also your right not to be. Pilot core link. Done. Do you feel centered? Yes. Do you feel the phantom presence of the ship's limbs? This is normal. Yes. Do you feel the presence of other bodies or other people nearby? This is normal. Yes. Do you feel as if other people or bodies may also be your own body? This is not normal. How would I know the difference? Fair. Do you feel like a god yet? Not really. There's no need to be modest. Prep for launch. It hasn't been that long since we all started fighting, but everything really did go just how I imagined it. Even holding the controls of the machine everyone's so scared of, just like this, doesn't feel like butterflies or dread. It just feels like the only thing that could have happened. You know how hard they worked because they were so scared you wouldn't be finished before the end? I never doubted it. I'm not so special that they couldn't make something scary enough for me to be its pilot. Humans are culture, and culture is gravity. A ship self is a skin, but a ship self is also a heart. The plastic and metal chassis, insulated against hard vacuum, is necessary to not die. The tidal reactor, which generates the gravity and culture necessary to keep humans solid and real so far from Earth, is necessary to live. The dual tidal reactor resonance system installed in the Crunmacula, then, might be capable of a sort of birth. The Crunmacula was completed on the inert pseudoplanet Hades, on the boundary between the solar system ruled by human gravity and that which isn't. When the system is activated, cosmic dust emanating from between the ship self's palms is crushed in the friction of the competing forces of the Crunmacula's dual tidal reactors, and ignites in the birth of a tiny star. It's a start, an anchor of gravity and culture, for humans to begin colonizing the stars, the seed of possibility, and just as easily the seed of the inversion of possibility. Stars go supernova and become black holes where the information of life, culture, is deleted. But they aren't afraid of Crunmacula as much as they are afraid of Pluto. Her own tidal forces destroyed the first 17 prototypes. It's the girl with the love to be the mother of stars they're afraid of. Don't build me up like that. I'm not that special. But I am that scary. I'm used to it. The only thing I just can't get over is just how unfair it all feels. Knowing how bad this could get, how wrong it could go, and it's still happening anyway. The Crunmacula is bigger than other ship selves in terms of its objective gravitational impression on space-time. Yeah, I am feeling everything at once. But I'm feeling big too. Feeling so big. I can feel it. Far and away. The sword of the real Mare Crisium come to cut our dreams down. And the toxin of the inverse string of pearls come to turn the earth inside out. They're incredible girls, I can tell. But now Cradled Graces has the power to fight back and keep space our home forever. I know I'm meant to do this. I've been trained my whole life to be the 1 in a million who can pilot this. I know I want to do this. Space is the only place where everyone can be happy, even if almost no one believes it. I want to keep it safe. I know what I need to do. I know what I need to do. I know what I need to do. Now I just have to do it. That's nothing compared to what it took to learn how. My body, my mind, my soul, they're all in order. I just have to do it. The girl with the love to be the mother of stars was a really amazing line. I love the so big language too. And her expression, yeah, her expressions are so good. I just really like Pluto as a character. I was very curious to hop into her story. Not that I'm not interested in Lunaterra, but you know, Pluto is just a character. Are these all the same? I can't tell. In a long Cold War, where humanity united against its nemesis. They are. Okay. I might just skim them before moving on to reacclimate to the story, but I'm not going to read them out loud so I can save my breath to read more new content. Because that shit doesn't fly at fast space velocity. Ooh, I really like this colorway for everything. Alright, Pumpkin's decided she's ditching us. Alright, we have 2 messages. Uh-oh. What should I do? Will it play even if it's not notifying? Okay, let me pause the mail because I can always come back here. Well, there is something here. You can read the comms, the bio is just great. Okay. So we just can't read Mars bio. But we'll get to it later, I'm sure. And we'll still get a chance to meet him. Or them. I don't know their... Okay. Oh, the notification is back up now too, the little blinking. I still want to read the emails first. Generation 2 pilot, first class, DMs open for fight requests. Okay, that's great. Alright. Unacceptable. Cradle's Grace's Formation Archives. Executive Director Dr. Nix. The funding is being cut again. They aren't getting the results they want. Mars is she, her. Okay, good to know. They think it's indulgent. They don't care about how the kids feel. It warms their hearts to see them grow unimpeded by the gravity of Earth, but also it disturbs them. They love our beautiful, free, glittering children, but when we talk about bringing Earth's children here, they look away. The children of space are not bound by the same laws of gravity and do as they like with their bodies and souls. You have insisted that they can endure the gravitational forces of Earth, but have you considered that their tidal forces do not wish to accommodate them? They will be smoothed back again, or broken, at the very least. They will never stop trying to destroy them. We have created magnificent, delicate creatures, and Earth wants them back for what? To crush them again, under their own tidal forces. Who is this? Ambient tidal information. A love story. I don't know who I'm sending this to, but I think about you all the time, in the back of my mind. I know a lot about you. Does that mean you know about me too? Or are you just glowing brightly in a way that I don't understand? Is anyone else seeing this? Do you get messages like this all the time? Are you aware of how much you loom in the heart of someone you haven't met? What am I expecting? I don't even know. This is really awkward. Sorry for doing this. It must really be hard. No, I can't really know that. This is delusional of me. I'm going to make it stop. Because if I don't, I'm going to come to hate you. Because I'm already so frustrated I'm nothing like you. I need to understand why I tear myself apart thinking of you. I'm not going to send this. I don't know how to send this, and I hope you never read it. Despite how loud I am about my love of Luna, Holly, and Europa, Mars is my actual fave, and this is such a good email. Yeah, agree. All right, let's go meet Mars. Okay, and the bio is up and lit, so everything looks good now that we've kind of toggled back and forth. And then Pluto, we see, I'm thankful for my cradle's graces, but we're not coming back. Lovely. Still can't believe it. I felt that from here. Yeah? Yeah, what was it like? It was incredible. For a moment I felt like I was right next to you. It was even stronger than all the times that you tested the prototypes. Stronger than the one time they let you fight before. It's amazing. I've been training so long I never knew how different it would feel to have my own perfected suit, perfectly suited, just for me ship self. I'm going to be extra mad at all of you for how long you left me behind. Is it really safe though? Mars. Don't start, I'll get mad. It's just more powerful than anything that's ever been developed. I don't like that Dr. Nix is making you do something untested all by yourself. No one person should have to do all the things that your unit is expected to do. But I'm strong enough to do it, right? Powerful enough to stop Earth from taking us back. Strong enough to stop celestial mechanics from bringing the existential threat back. I can do it, right? I mean, of course you can. No one else could, but that doesn't mean you should do it alone. I'm not alone. I've got you. And everyone else. We're all together, that's what we wanted, isn't it? I'm not locked up in a lab anymore. Aren't you happy for me? I'm happy for you. Are you really, really happy for me? I'm super happy for you. I really am. Are you scared of me now? No way. Never. You're not something to be afraid of. No. But that's wrong. You should be scared. I'm incredible. That's ominous as hell. Okay, where should it go? Let's drop a seed before I forget to do that. Okay, so many competing vague ideas of who is this from? Still haven't figured out what causes the bug. Could be a link to competing route and then immediately jumping into a new one. Alright. So we have Saturn return and retrograde in retrograde. Entirely new mission. Oh wow, just for me. Chasing after a string of pearls, Lunaterra and Pluto find each other instead. It's been almost a year. I mean, let's do the new ones. Let's see something completely different. Oh my god. Seeing Aries' avatar, like the colorful bigger one, she's so cute. Or Mars, not Aries, that's right. The little band-aid on her nail, it's adorable. Mars, are you okay? You look like someone punched you in the face. What happened? That's exactly what happened. Someone punched me in the face. It's been so long since you got in a fight with the flight crew. It feels a little nostalgic. I'm fine, by the way. People who start fights don't get sympathy. They started it when they wouldn't let me fly. And who threw the first punch? That part doesn't matter. If they don't let me go, then you'll have to fight that traitor all by your... Oh. Why didn't I feel it earlier? Of course she's here. It wasn't that I wasn't gonna tell you. Memorial Foundation also knows about the prototype and they sent their ace to get it. No, I understand. You were so excited you just had to run out and see her, huh? You got that right. Run out and punch that traitor Lunaterra in the face as hard as I can. Aww. She's the worst. After pretending that she was going to fight for the colonies, even after Earth abandoned us and demanded we come home, she double-crossed us. We were going to do this together. I have missed punching that insufferably smug face for a year. It's finally time to show her that we're not going to forgive her for betraying us at the worst moment, leaving us alone, barely able to keep fighting as Cradle's Grace. But it's not like we ever needed her, and I know. I miss her too. Are you not listening to me? I've been listening to the two of you say the same things about each other for a really long time. And it doesn't sound any different. It's nothing like it was before. I'm not playing games. When we were in the academy, you were always chasing after her. You'd swing the first punch and she'd laugh. And you two would fight and then you'd make out and then you'd do it all over again. I miss that so much. But if you go after her, it'll happen just like that, all over again. Stop talking about me like I'm that predictable. It's different now. Orders are orders for a reason, you know. I'm still not okay with it. They're making you use that terrifying machine. It's way too dangerous. I'm sorry. I really am. But Mars, if it makes you feel any better... What? You're breaking up. I can't wait to fight her. I love her, understand her, and forgive her. But I'm still mad. How come you both got to have all the fun? Who wants to stay home while you two get to fight and make out? You don't know how scary this machine is, Mars. And it's so much less scary than me. I don't want you to see me like that. But I really, really want Lunaterra to see. Pluto, you cut out for a second there. What did you say? I said tough luck. It's my time to shine now. like waking up underwater to the wet burn of your lungs' desperation for air. Like floating untethered in space, unable to move under your own power. Losing the security of gravity is like being naked in space. Gravity is necessary for human life in space. Gravity is necessary for unrestricted movement in space. Can't have one without the other. The force that binds your existence together. The force to shape foreign bodies. Pure agency. Gravity is necessary not just to live in space, but to be human in space. But being human is a little harder for Pluto, so she has to work for it. The tidal forces of her spacefaring body, the Krunmacula, are as strong as she believes, and as weak as she feels. And Lunaterra needs to make sure all the calculations are in order. Everything in her ship operates manually. She's just been at it long enough that it feels like a second skin. The jolt of nostalgia interrupts Lunaterra's mental math. She forgets to carry the 1. It interrupts Pluto's focus, and she has a moment where she's not invincible. Close enough to touch the surface of the moon lab, Lunaterra is seen and known by Pluto, and they are suddenly falling down the well of too late, and nothing you can do. I knew it. Warning: gravitational interference. It's important to get a grip. Knowing that there's nothing you can do is something Pluto considers freeing, and Lunaterra considers exciting. Feeling doomed is clear permission to do whatever. As soon as Mare Crisium is through the cloud cover, she fires solid light into the remains of the Celestial Mechanics Lab and chases it through the wound. The lab was recently damaged by the illegal launch of a hijacked ship, but that damage is barely noticeable compared to the massive hole left by a much larger ship crashing through. Lunaterra acts fast under pressure. If there's no point in hiding, there's no point in stopping. It's true. Lunaterra is living on the whim of Krunmacula, which can probably do whatever to her at any time. If she can't run away, she wants to make the first move. It's the sort of thing that makes a lot of sense if you think about it, and no sense at all if you think a little more. But that's Lunaterra, isn't it? She's betting you'll think too much, or not enough. Against Pluto, is that really such a good idea? She's someone who always thinks just enough. Which makes it easy for Lunaterra to slip through, deep into the lab, until it gets quiet, except for the sounds of the moon quaking and trembling. After almost a year, the dread and the thrill is way too much to slow down and start walking. That's what the arrow flying into Pluto's gravity well is saying. Who will make the first move? When Lunaterra punctures the last armor layer and opens up the terminal cavern, light spills out and screaming sound because the Krunmacula is peeling the lab and most of the moon inside out with the forces of its own tides. It's not something that's impossible or anything. It's just something that's only possible in theory, which is still terrifying, more terrifying, and more terrifying than the power is Pluto's finesse. And more terrifying than the finesse is her gentleness, spooling matter like threads in the tiny galaxy of which she is the sun. Her power is very kind, but it's also a little perverse. What meaning does mercy have from something that can core out a moon? Krunmacula's developers compared it to a black hole. They wanted a machine so powerful and absolute, even light couldn't escape it. Lunaterra understands now that she was wrong. She's a star, gushing and twinkling with matter and light. Who wouldn't be swept up in that? The Mare Crisium is so small. Pluto has never seen it from a perspective like Krunmacula before. She never imagined it would look so fragile from here, like a toy version of the fierce fighter she remembered. Pluto's sense of scale is true. Lunaterra feels just like a plastic toy, too. Come on, say something. It's making me sad. It really does fit you. So much more than I ever thought. Is it hard to look away? Being able to render you speechless is the power I've always dreamed of. What do you think? I know just a look won't change your mind, but I want you to tell me. Tell you what? That I regret betraying you? I told you then, that I always would. No. I won't let you do that, Lunati. Did you think I'd be mad? I mean, of course I'm mad at you, but not for anything you did to me. I wouldn't ever be mad at you for not having enough faith in me to see through Cradle's Grace's dreams of a new home for humans in space. I'm just mad at you for not having enough faith in yourself to see it through, and leaving all the work to me. Oops. I guess that is why I'm a little upset with you. Not mad, you know. Just disappointed. I can't believe I'm still the one scolding you like a kid. I'm trying to be the grown-up, you know. I did the responsible thing. I took the realistic option. I'm here to play the part of the boring adult, the grown-up villain. Oh, that's right. I remembered why I actually am mad at you. You better not go down quietly. You better really believe what you just said. I'll forgive you if you left us for something stupid, but I'll never forgive you if you left us for something you don't believe in. And you better not believe in it, because I also won't forgive you for fighting for a future that cruel. Doesn't leave me a lot of options. I don't think I can fight against that. Don't you dare. I won't forgive that either. Were you hoping maybe that it wouldn't be like this? That I wouldn't have to fight? It'll change you in ways you don't understand. Okay, we should be back. I got disconnected for a second, but I think everything is okay now. Let's see. Oh, there's like not a dialogue option box. There was only a couple lines that I read when we were disconnected though. So haven't missed very much. I saw the disconnect and I was like, okay, I'm gonna stop reading to make sure that I don't skip anything. Let's resume. It's a different kind of knowing. Teach me then, or I'll teach you. Okay. Glad that I didn't keep going past the disconnect before we got to the choice point. So if Pluto learns a lesson and Lunaterra gets schooled. I mean, it seems silly to betray on our very first mission. That doesn't really seem in the spirit of what Pluto is setting out to accomplish. So I'm going to stay loyal for this one. As soon as Pluto blinks, that's the moment Mare Crisium attacks, a little out of fear, mostly out of awe. It's a confused move, the first move, which is so unlike her. So unlike her that it nearly takes Crenmacula by surprise. All matter parts along the vectors of inertia that Pluto has set. But these bullets stubbornly curve, bury into her flank and sting, with a sharp and subtle gravity of their own. Ow. That kind of stings, Lunati. Stop doing things like that. Lunaterra is crushed instantly, and she's dead. No, Lunaterra dodged at the last second. No. The Mare Crisium is torn apart from every joint. No, Lunaterra is safe at home. She never left. No, Lunaterra hasn't moved, and it's only because she can't bring herself to. Lunaterra is feeling ghosts of the space-time that Pluto has cut off. Escape routes she rushed for, but don't exist. Lunaterra is trying to think of something to say. She really is. But it's impossible, because Chronmocula is the size of the universe. Her sleeping nebula glows with the promise to swallow up the space station, and Lunaterra and the whole solar system. It's so fucking funny if people play Pluto and the first time they read that and go, what? That's not the way, Lunati. You have to come for me like you really mean it, or that's what's gonna happen. The Myricrisium's engines spin, so no response. Lunaterra's mind is racing, but there's no thought she can hold on to. Except how disappointed and sad Pluto is. If you give me just one moment, you'll pass my event horizon and you'll never escape. Always getting closer but never getting there, falling forever. If you don't figure out how to unstick yourself, I might leave you there. Remember for next time, okay? Don't keep breaking my heart. The Myricrisium plummets, and the Chronmocula rises up, exiting the moon like a shooting star, tearing the lab up into space with her. That was so intense. Poor Lunaterra. Just want to give her a hug. Regarding Mecha 2, Chronmocula, Ship Self-Development, Documentation, Operations Decommissioned Chair Europa. It was commissioned before it had a pilot, and before the technology for piloting it had been developed, before the technology for its workings had been developed. I think we recognized that the construction was an act of faith. Nix's directive was to create the sort of self that we wished to see. I think, of course, that was the moment that it was clear to me that Nix was fighting for what she believed humans could be, but not who humans were. I think at the time I didn't understand the difference, or what Nix might not consider important because of her tendency to think this way. Many of the functions of the Chronmocula have not been invented yet. It is limitlessly expendable. I have, of course, requested for it to be decommissioned, but I believe ultimately you'll want to scrap it if this committee has indeed found nothing in space worth saving. I would have to wonder about the committee's intentions and their curiosity towards this last fragment. The end result of the Chronmocula's functions are indistinguishable from Nix's dream, so there's no briefing I can provide that will be more comprehensive than the ones we receive from Nix herself. I can only speculate on which she has or has not been able to implement successfully. As terrifying as the Chronmocula is, the pilot, Dr. Nix, has found it is more terrifying by far. They might find a way to make it move even yet. Tidal Theory and Celestial Mechanics. General Information Record Poll. Director of Celestial Mechanics Iapetus. Ew. Let us begin with imagining an inert theoretical mass of matter equivalent physically in all ways to the third body of the solar system, a theoretical planet Terra, absent of human culture. How would we model the physical properties of such a planet where Jungian Newtonian models do not apply? The soft science of celestial mechanics is not purely a thought exercise, but an inquiry into what, if any, default physical properties would exist in the universe without the influence of culture. Because of its potential application in space colonization, for its use in modeling the physics of foreign celestial bodies and the utility of the concept of Terra, and the philosophical hard sciences for more precisely defining Earth as the lands of human dominion rather than a specific physical body. Celestial mechanics has been integrated as a branch of contemporary metacultural general relativity. What would it be like to imagine a world in which humans have one-to-one dominion over real phenomena, In such a world, we might think of gravity in multiple senses, since the agency of humanity over each other mentally, spiritually, and culturally would not be the same as physically. The conversion of matter into energy, and energy into culture, and culture back to matter again is complicated by distortions caused by culture's ability to arbitrarily set conversion parameters. This is caused not because of power of human gravity, but actually by its weaknesses and incompletenesses. In a theoretical universe in which humanity has full dominion over the physical universe, the influence of culture would be a one-to-one constant, and the physical universe would abide by inflexible fundamental laws. In such a world, we would have to separate fields of study that involve metaphors from ones that describe worldly phenomena, because our world would be objectively determined, while humans would be able to disagree and defy each other. They would ascribe to an inflexible, perfect system as decided by humanity. Love all the implications of philosophical hard sciences and how culture and gravity and physicality are all enmeshed in this heading. Yeah, I hate to give one to Iapetus, but this is a really good read. Yeah, it's just the reasons why he's philosophizing about all of this and what he's going to use it for, that's the real problem. All right, let's do comms. See more of Mars. I wish you didn't have to do this, but I love chatting with you, especially about your latest sordid affairs. Well, thanks. Wait, that's not what I meant. And sordid? Dramatic, tempestuous, explosive? No. Problematic? No. Tumultuous? That's sexier, but that's still bad. I mean, how would you describe them? Not like that. Intense or something. The last one was really good until the end. Should I be more generous? Well, it'd be nice. But you're not very good at relationships. Kill me. It's kind of cute. You love people so much that you forget about them completely. Your honesty really hurts sometimes, you know. You fall for glittering, faraway girls, but what you really need is someone who doesn't put up with you. There's got to be someone somewhere who won't let you get away with anything. I believe in you. I'm trying to save the world. I don't really have time for this. But you're not too busy to keep flirting? Pluto... God. Sorry, BB. No mercy for you. Urgh. It's out of love. One day you're going to be as good at treating girls as you are at piloting. Don't twist the knife. Sorry. It's fine. I know I'm not great at it. Hey. You did that thing again. What thing? You know that thing. You changed the topic, and I forget what I wanted to talk to you about. So you don't have to answer. Except I have a chat log, and I can scroll back up and see, like the... It's sweet you wish I didn't have to fight. See, you do remember. You remember better than I do. But why don't we leave it at that? Why? Because there's nothing we can do about it. We could find a way. I don't want you to have to do this if you don't have to. Chat? No, I mean fight. You just did it again. That was great. I love their dynamic. Okay, Iapetus. The only negative is that it's loaded with Iapetuses, and this is good because I can do fascism with it. Yep. He's emblematic of that type of professor. Very skilled and enjoyable writer who also happens to be a groomer, actively trying... You know, there are way too many academic theorists who fall under that description. This is fucking real. Pluto can be a little toxic as a treat, avoiding all her problems by being a little mean to Mars. Alright, let's get a new perspective on Saturn. Pluto, Why are you suiting up? The Celestial Mechanics Lab has wrecked and the prototype escaped. We should be heading back to the inner solar system. She's still here. Who? Some incredibly ridiculous, utterly irresponsible, dangerously devious brat. I'm not who you're talking about, right? Don't be silly. You're not devious at all. Then who? Also, hey! You're being very tricky, so I can't quite tell, but I have rough coordinates. They slip between the cracks of the universe, play fast and loose with the laws of physics, staying hidden out of sight, but being really smug about it. I think they're showing off. So it couldn't be anyone but the pilot of Celestial Mechanics prototype, right? Why? That's stupid. What sort of pilot would be that irresponsible with a prototype? Hey Mars, when you were in the academy, how many prototype units did you wreck? Let's not talk about that right now. I'm just teasing, Mars. You're much better behaved now. If the intel is true, their prototype is really powerful, even against you. I know. I might not be able to stop her. This location is the experimental lab. It was shut down right before Earth canceled the space program. I don't like this place, Pluto. It's like they shut down Daphnis' lab and converted it into the perfect site for an ambush. Really? It's too much for me? Well, it's stronger than the fleet I destroyed. I mean, I'm not saying you're not strong enough. It's a stealth mission against a secret weapon is different. No one knows what Celestial Mechanics is planning, but it's always awful. It's definitely a trap. This mission is the Outer Planets is only to destroy Celestial Mechanics labs and prevent Memorial Foundation from recovering the prototype. Mars, if you keep trying to protect me, I'll get mad. But let me have the tiniest bit of fun. I'll be fine. After all, I have a lot of experience correcting unruly show-offs who act out for attention. Daphnis, the tiny shepherd moon, so small it barely earns the name, tumbles through the Keller Gap, ruffling the rings of the planet it orbits. It houses the last official laboratory of Earth's decommissioned space program, training ground of failures like Saturn and special girls like Pluto. Saturn remembers it feeling cramped, anxious, and scary. No, wait, Pluto remembers it that way. Saturn remembers when it used to feel so special to be chosen, a candidate for the last generation of pilots. But didn't Pluto feel that way too? Sometimes two things are true. In this place, gravity is quietly degenerating, and distances are becoming ambiguous between past and present, between me and you. The Daphnis lab seems smaller to Saturn now, though not as tiny as it feels to Pluto, and that's obvious. No longer people-sized, she tears through it like worms in an apple. But there's a much bigger worm here, and she doesn't know anymore if this was a good idea. Or what was a good idea. Saturn doesn't have any ideas, she's just trying to hide, even though there's no place where you cannot be felt by me. Alert. Tidal resonance IFF confirms enemy. Warning. Gravitational hazard. Danger. Pressure exceeding safe range. I know, it's extremely exciting. Stop making me nervous. Supermassive. Small enough to hide in this complex, but with a dual reactor denser than the entire moon compressed into the head of a pin. An hour ago, and Saturn felt the gravitational pull of something so big and so close and so powerful. The interior of her cockpit creaked with the pressure, and her head, heart, and eyes welled up with tears. Something that couldn't be anyone other than Pluto. Cool. She must be pretty big, huh? So why is she so hard to find? Saturn has no idea. Why do I have the feeling someone's laughing at me? No one is laughing at Saturn. The lab's been abandoned for years. But Pluto, wherever she is, giggles. Not in a mean way, she really does think it's cute. Haven't thought about Pluto in a long time. Oh man, it really would be funny if she was in that monster. But now someone is laughing at Saturn. Hey, now I know someone's there. I can feel you listening, but I can hear you too. And I can catch you. You're not the only one who can fuck up with the narrative. Okay. So last time... What did we do last time? I feel like we did a narrow escape, right? Yeah, because that's the one that favors what Saturn was doing. So, let's see something different. That way I'm not rereading the same dialogue. It's easiest to catch someone. If you don't care, you might get caught yourself. Besides, if you want to drive someone wild, you gotta show them you're worth catching. And that you're good enough to catch them too. The lab is dark. The malfunctioning lights cast an eerie glow, dying culture without gravity to hold it together. Oh, okay, interesting. She can't hear the faint laughter rippling in the gravity, and where it's coming from. When you don't know the controls, mashing all the buttons at once is just as good. Got you. It's a hit. Her claws sink in. They tremble in the pressure. Whatever they've sunk into is bigger than belief. The Chronmocula towers over Saturn. Pluto's ship is so big it barely fits into the complex, but it's only a speck compared to how big it feels. Supermassive enough to warp local space-time, humming and vibrating with nebula dust, incredibly gentle, or she would have destroyed Saturn and the whole complex without even trying. Oh wow, you got me. No matter what size it appears, in the truest, most real sense of size, the ship is bigger than this moon, than anything Saturn can imagine. String of Pearls quickly flits away, but Chronmocula's grip is on her before she can twitch. And I've got you, Saturn. I really was surprised to see you like this. Cool, right? I've got poison now, too. Want to see if you're still the top weirdo psychic mutant in space? Oh wow, sounds really cool, but I don't know if you're ready yet. Want to bet? Sure. The string of pearls screeches and buckles as the dust ignites, and a tiny portion of Pluto's tidal forces her a slam into her. Warning, gravity hazard. Had enough? You kidding? Okay. We can turn it up. That's sure insane. It feels like my brain is melting into the universe. You're the one who wanted to show off. You don't have to do that to endear yourself to me, but if you really want to impress me, you're going to have to do better than that. Yeah? You're still not impressed, even by this? By what? That does sting. It spreads like a poison, even through metal. It jumps like electricity, but drips like a liquid, pink and impossible, and spreading quickly through the Chronmocula's body. So, you're not just full of risky and bad ideas. That makes me happy. It won't shut you down too hard. Okay, you win. You gonna be good now? Okay. So, what did you want to talk about? As Cradle's Grace's glittering psychic death machine, you definitely have more important things to do than go out of your way to bully me for no reason, right? Not based on how she talks to Mars. Oh, that's right. That man and the fleet are escaping, aren't they? Hope you don't mind falling for this trap. Trap? You silly? I know you're more important than that. More than catching the rest of Celestial Mechanics' fleet? I knew this would be fun, and you knew it too. I'm absolutely delighted about you doing just to be clear, so you don't have to read my mind to roast me about it. I can't read minds. You know that's not how it works. But I also don't need to know that. But I did want to know how the biggest overachiever of my juniors turned into such a bad girl. If you really remembered me, you'd remember I wasn't ever good. I do remember you, even if you're not that good at being bad. So you know what you're doing with that machine that's dangerous. We don't even want to find out what it does. I think you answered your own question about why I'm keeping it. Are you gonna stop me then? But you don't want to. Hey, stop. Don't pry into me. If you're pitying me, I'll make you regret it. Not all of us come out perfect like you. Some of us get thrown out before they see any use at all. I won't pity you. I really would have torn this machine apart. But now that I'm here, gifted little mutant to gifted little mutant, I can't bear to. Because some of us just haven't been thrown out yet. Lab-grown girls like us should stick together. I might still make you regret it. Winning isn't the most important task. It's not yours either. You sure about that? You're not who I'm worried about. It's only your boss I can't forgive. Oh, I love hearing that. Tell me more. I'm getting a crush already. Regretting it now? Don't worry. There's nothing you can make me regret. Alright. Okay, so I had a little thing typed up for when the end of Divergence point showed up. Yeah, lab-grown girls like us is very gender. Okay, so these are the logs that I've read before. And there really was quite a bit of overlap. I think like the beginning of their exchange past the choice point, there were some differences, but most of it was very similar. That was such a scary sound. All missions on Kronos orbit completed. Maiden flight and testing of Chronmocula is done. Report received. Awaiting new directives. I'm heading back to Ares, of course. It's the home of Cradle's graces, after all. We have to finish up the last touches on Chronmocula and prepare for the last battle on Earth's moon. Celestial Mechanics will regroup and refuel there, and maybe we can nip them in the bud. A memorial foundation has been fighting us there since the conflict began, and maybe this time we can push them back. Send a message to everyone. Time to come home, so we can be ready for the journey, ready for launch. Me remembering to save? Who am I? Pilot interfacing, direct message, Mars. Okay, well, so the very first thing you need to know about pilot interfacing is that it's the most important part of piloting. You don't really have to know any of this stuff, but since you asked, I'll give you the basic rundown. There are actually a few ways it's useful to know, even if it's basically just to explain why no one can do anything to stop you because of this completely unfair bullshit you have. Any given ship self may have a variety of prescribed functions, you know. That's called the machine's intent. It's not that machine has consciousness, even if it seems like it does. That's just projection, an inaccurate metaphor. Even if you're using a made-to-order ship for you alone, or customizing it for that purpose, you still have to bring your intentions in line with the craft's. That's what interfacing really means. That's why interfacing is the most important part of piloting, and why basically the only thing the R&D crews do is find better ways to reduce the lag. Little almost organic skitter squeal it did at the start of the report, is it? White Void, Tidal Mechanics Research Archives, Dr. Nix. The fearful power of it is evident, so much so that I hesitate to even criticize it. It is the nature of the tyrant theory that is fed by all things, including attempts to dismantle it. It can simply assimilate those theories and absolve itself of potential guilt and rhetorical weakness by assuming new forms, because it has no inherent premise that is not fungible, but the impulse to make all else part of it. Far from expanding to incorporate diverse and contradictory ideas into itself, the theory would remove alternate quantum states until finding a solution that would incorporate perfectly in line with the unified culture theory. This is a necessary and inherent step, because in order to prevent any given feature of such theoretical culture to be subject to reversion, the gravitational pull of the culture must be so great that no information about it can escape. As the theory accumulates, culture through culture mass energy conversion, its gravity would steadily begin to grow and its energy decrease until it began to continuously collapse into a single coordinate, and no distinguishing information would be able to escape. The interplay of variant states is necessary for culture to create and change, and this unified field culture would be unable to do so. It would only be able to assimilate and devour. Such a theory would not redefine hierarchy, but enshrine it forever. Far from a compassionate future for humanity, it would necessitate the complete removal of human variance. All humanity and all existence would revolve around a singularity of the unified field culture, the tyrant theory, a white void, a single conqueror thought at the center of the universe. The little lectures. This is simultaneously why I don't usually recommend Pluto. Yeah, that makes sense in retrospect. I think we got more kind of world building emails in Saturn's route, and this is getting, I mean, it's still world building, but it's like a lot deeper cut lore. It's much more philosophical world building. I've seen too many people bounce off of Pluto first run. That would be so sad. There's so much more to experience. Easy for people to see walls of esoteric metaphor and be like, blinks. Well, I was an English major, so I don't think this would have scared me off if it was my first run. But I do get, like, if this just isn't what someone was expecting, they might be like, I don't know if this game was for me. But how can you not love the characters? I want to keep playing for them, if nothing else. I believe that, Sus. Are you scared? Yeah. You? Yeah. But I'm excited, too. I'm looking forward to what we could be. Hey, Pluto? How can you be sure? Sure? About what? About anything? Everything is so frustrating, pointless, doomed. No matter how hard I fight, it stays that way. So, how can you be sure it's not going to be that way someday? You're the person I want to ask that. Because you fight every day like you're not thinking about those things. What's that supposed to mean? I've got to fight. That's what we have to do. Of course I still think about those things, even when I'm fighting. Sorry, Mars. Of course you do. Everyone has doubts like that. Even me, then? It doesn't feel like you do. I mean, you make it seem like everything's going to be alright. But you just do what you have to, without even worrying about it. Without even worrying about whether it's right or not. Or if it will come to anything or not. You're a genius, you know. You're smarter than me. That's not true. I just have to stop thinking if I want to just do whatever it is that needs doing. I put myself on pause. Don't you? Maybe that's why I'm still so scared. Okay. So I believe Rift in the Earth is our new one. So let's do it. Recalibrating. How is the stability? Remember to keep the left one balanced. It's fine, Mars. You don't have to fuss so much. There's just no reason to take a test flight without escorts. Especially with Memorial Foundation patrolling the area. Mars, they really could be doing anything at all more useful. This ship doesn't need protection from anything, even if we're exposing the cores for testing. And you know I hate being treated like a princess. But you are important, and your ship is too. It's not fussy and annoying to be looking out. It is too annoying. I'll be annoyed by whatever I want. Stop being jealous. I'm not looking for an excuse to bump into Luna T. I never said that. Listen to Dr. Nix for once, even if you won't listen to me. Look, I'm not escorting you. You win, okay? But please, just be careful. I know you think I treat you like glass, but I really... What's so funny? Why are you laughing? Sorry. It's just hard for me to stay mad when you're such a dork. And you care so much. Even if you're non-apologizing and still want so bad to be a knight in shining armor. You're the only one I can still be such a petulant kid in front of. Instead of the princess everyone loves. Pluto. Wait, you're just being a brat for fun? I'm mad now. Everyone else gets to be, especially you. Stop making fun of me. Remember when in the academy, when people asked you where I was, they'd say, "Hey, Mars, where's your..." Okay, yes, launch permissions cleared. You're cleared for takeoff. Ooh, interesting. I mean, I really like this name. So it's make up and forget. That's the betrayal, or fight until we forgive each other. And after their last interaction, I want to see this one. Because I'm just going for very high intensity scenes between Luna T and Pluto. The balance shifts because Lunaterra hesitated, and Pluto did too. Pluto passed over the Ares Canyon once, twice, 3, 4, 5 times. Lunaterra had a chance to make the first move, but Pluto couldn't keep pretending she didn't notice her lying in wait. It wasn't that Lunaterra was ready to take the shot. It's that she still hadn't decided to take it or not. Pluto has been waiting for her to grow up for a long time. She's tired of being the one waiting. There's no time for elegant duels or anticlimactic sniping. When Macula crashes into the canyon, it's the worst kind of fight. Oh. That really captured what's going on in the scene. Macula's fingers will no longer open or close, but she wipes with useless limb anyway. The ring finger of Pluto's ship self twists off, breaking with the force of backhanding Mare Crisium into the canyon wall, which scrambles to its feet and then falls down immediately. Lunaterra's balance gyros must be broken, but that's not so bad. At least she still has 2 legs, unlike the Macula. Luna T, you really are the most stubborn woman I know. I'm proud of you, but that you're only this tenacious when I'm finally being serious is a little vexing, you know. I mean, I've kept going this long. Has to count for something, right? I don't want to wreck you. I just really need you to win or lose. Could you do that, please? Both of those are hard to do. Then you've got 5 minutes to grow up. Pluto's reach is longer than expected. Little tricks of gravity. It might not be enough. The Mare Crisium was made to not be caught. More precisely, Lunaterra made the Mare Crisium something that couldn't be caught. No, don't you dare. Her fingers refuse to close, and Mare Crisium slips away. Sorry, I'm such a cockroach. Don't be. Slipping away is so like you. I don't know what else to expect. Luna T, I really can't let you get away. Not without an answer. Not going to do that. What are you trying to do then? We promise we fight until one of us won. And then we go along with whatever the other decided. So why are you trying to take that away from me? Lunaterra holds Macula's severed left tidal reactor. Pluto can go without it, but not for long. It's what makes the Macula so impossible, and without it, she can't be impossible for very long. That core is everything I have. But the rest of me isn't going to last without it, so it might as well be everything. If I don't have that, I can't follow you, win or lose. I really don't think it's good for you. The Macula takes a leap and crashes into the ground, just short of the Mare Crisium. It's just close enough Lunaterra nearly forgets to take the opportunity to get a shot in Macula's chest before she can recover to block it. You're going to lecture me about doing what's healthy? You've got a lot of nerve. It's not cute. If we had to fight each other like this, I really wish it didn't have to be with you in that thing. You don't like it, huh? You've always been like this. You're trying to tell me what's good for me. You don't want to admit this is really me. Luna T, I would listen to you if you would ever listen to me once. Ever. I told you. I haven't gotten any better in the time we've been apart. I don't want you to not be strong, or beautiful, or amazing. I just don't want you to be holding this weight of Cradle's graces, everyone's hopes and dreams, all by yourself. So please, just rest for now. Don't tell me that. I hate this. Hate it. Hate this. You never listened. Now, and you know I'll always let you win in the end. But not this time. I don't know what you mean. I've been really patient. So if you keep playing dumb, you're gonna make me mad. I said, I don't know what you mean. I don't want anything else. I'm a cockroach. I don't need anything myself. Liar! Are you trying to make me mad? Be satisfied with it. I don't have any other answer. If I had one, I'd give it, so drop it. I'm not satisfied. No. You grow up. You be the adult for once. Get back here. Quinmocula's feet are still broken, but Pluto moves her with gravity alone. Mare Crisium's engines, flare, navi is broken. Everything is broken. But it will move. No, 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 not this time. Quinmocula's twin tidal reactors are falling apart with one of them nearly torn out, yet she still moves. The pressure of the unrestricted gravity peels the paint off Mare Crisium. Her steels and plastics are chattering. Her remaining useless arm snaps and her engine wings creak. That pressure is not enough to bring her down, but it's enough for her to falter, and Quinmocula grabs her foot and slams her to the ground. Mare Crisium creaks and strains, trying to flee, so Pluto pulls the rest of herself on top of her. Pluto, I'm serious. You're not the only one. I have things I'm willing to be hard and cruel for now, too. Mare Crisium fires a sidearm. It doesn't dent Pluto. Pluto opens her hands. The fingers don't work, but the plasma still does, which flays Lunaterra's chassis, but gently. I'm really serious this time. I can't stop for a second, so I really need it back. It's already been too long, so give me back that part of me. Mare Crisium opens her left hand. Pluto's missing reactor is still beating wildly. Sorry to be like this, but this ship self and what it can do are more important than me, even anything else about me. Nothing's more important than you. A gentle click. Lunaterra's sidearm pointed at the stolen reactor fires. The solid light slug misses, just barely. There's a second shot, but it's buried in Pluto's blocking hand, and there's a third shot. But Pluto's ripped off arm of the Mare Crisium, so it's just the last reflex of a limb separated from its owner. But that's all that the broken arm of Quinmocula can take. Its fingers make a last twitch before her arm finally snaps under its own weight, and the Quinmocula falls to what's left of its knees. How long are you going to make me put up with this? What do you mean? You don't want to fight with me. Not a real fight. Your heart isn't in it, so it's not. No, no, no. That's the only thing I want. Why are you like this? Acting like you know what I want better than I do. So what if you're right? Of course I don't want to fight you. Damn it. I hate you. After all that, I'm the one who's crying at the end again. The last time it was like this, I was the one crying too. Now I'm powerful like you. I have something I'm fighting for like you. That's not you, or anyone but me. So let me fight for that. Stop protecting me. Stop making me fight for you. It's so easy to fight for you. If I'm not careful, it's all I'll ever want to do. I'm sorry. Don't want a sorry. You must think it's so easy to not care about you, but it's not. It's easy for you to not care about you. But it's the hardest thing for me. I'm still the one who ended up crying again. You wouldn't listen back then either. Mare Crisium rises, gently brushes away the burnt portions of Quinmocula's armor. The joints are already starting to heal as gravity pulls them back. Almost just as good as new, but a little changed. I know you. Don't distract yourself, dummy. Reattaching arms is hard, so do mine right at least. It's the same last time, too. I said, you deserve better. I said, but you are better. I just ignored it. Because I'm stupid. Not because I'm cool. Thank God. Everything is worth it if you finally don't think you're cool anymore. Wow, that was a lot. Okay, breaking her ring finger, backhanding her not quite X into a wall, sad face. Oh, I really love how Mariah Christie. Yeah, the art in that scene was so good. And the music too, but the art was really, really good. So much hurt and love and past and frustration in them both, literally tearing each other apart on multiple levels. Oof, okay, that was a lot. I should still be able to do at least one more though. Hello, Saturn. We've got mail. Alien Phenomena and the Pilot Program. Tidal Mechanics Research Archives. Director of Celestial Mechanics, Iapetus. Oh god, it's Iapetus again. The Scout program was created to be fungible with various other religions or philosophies in direct response to the immediate post-war need to address growing existential threats. As a stopgap measure, the Memorial Foundation has had frustrations with indefinite extensions of scouting programs internationally, and mostly universal failure to advance beyond the need for it. The model, or more specifically, the Scouts, were a victim of the space program's own success at fighting the Cold War. With support for a unified approach to space in order to prevent human cultural rivalry, the Memorial Foundation has been granted an opportunity to revise the scouting program and change the reactive war of attrition into a proactive one and confront the existential threat directly. The existential threat is the alien threat. We must think of them as one and the same. What is not known to us is the alien. The alien is defined by that most familiar function, f of x equals that which is human that humans are not. A fascinating logical paradox of much utility in research is the thought exercise. Imagine something that humans could not imagine. Logically, you should not be able to do it. It is inherently it's inherently impossible to imagine something that you have by definition the capabilities to imagine. And yet, this thought exercise leads us to begin defining, first, what is human? In other words, what is conventional? And then, by the same process, to imagine what is unconventional. In fact, this is the essence of conquering the unknown. Rather than allowing it the power to rule and to safely regulate and integrate in the culture, than for us to fester in anti-culture. But it will not produce what is truly alien to us. Solving this puzzle requires us to be part of what humanity does not wish to be. Okay, I have so many thoughts. First of all, it's really interesting that if you play Pluto first, you're going to get a very different impression of Iapetus, because you're just like, this is just some like theoretical guy spouting off about all of this stuff, and either you follow along with the logics or you're like, I don't understand this, I'm just going to scroll through it. But then once you play Saturn Sprout and you hear just like the venom and animosity that Saturn and Mercury have for him, and quoting bits and pieces of this philosophy that's been shoved at them all this time, like that's really interesting writing. Second, I'm getting like bad flashbacks to studying Derrida in literary theory classes. Like they did such a good job capturing what that academic rhetoric sounds like. Alright, let's read a Mars email now. Subject, direct message, Mars. Fine, okay, I know I didn't get to the point, but I have to build up to it, okay? The contextualizing information is important, but okay, I will actually talk about it this time. Mechanical interface is how machines typically work. You're going to yell at me for not being clear if I don't say this, but if I say that's when you've got physical switches and buttons and steering devices and you move them with your hands, that doesn't actually really convey it. Because you do those things in your ship self, but you don't use mechanical interfacing. So it actually matters that it is defined as exact mental instruction. It does exactly what you tell it. You can make anything you want to happen, but you have to give it exact instructions. There's the physical lag between yourself and the machine, but there's also the nuanced nature of giving the instructions. That's a really hard thing to do. Obviously, most people would prefer to move a machine on raw instinct, or like part of the body. I don't think many people actually get the best results from an interface like that. Unless, yes, you're like our mutual ex. Hey, is that why you wanted to know? Alright, different ways people and theories are presented in each route is so good. Really love the first paragraph of this email. I love the contrast between Iapetus and Nyx, because Nyx absolutely has her own fun little academic language theories, but unlike Iapetus' smug little persona, Nyx seems to drop that shit the moment it stops being useful or relevant. Yeah, and she doesn't talk that way either, whereas he talks like very standoffish academic still. Also, you know, Iapetus being malicious scum and Nyx caring so very much. Do you ever miss Lunatera? What? No. In case you've forgotten, she betrayed us and went back to Memorial Foundation. I know you want her back because you're kind and forgiving, but I'm not, and I'll kick her butt if I ever see her again. But that's no different than how you two used to be. You two only fight less now. That's the part that's sad. She was always smug, always a know-it-all, always one step ahead. The worst senior pilot, and she didn't teach me shit. Breakups really do turn all your memories sour, huh? That's... Shut up. Lunatera is the only one I feel that way about. I know you pine after good girls way too much. I think dating bad people is good for you. If I have to go through that again, no thanks. The only thing I miss is the expression on her face after I got one up on her. Her smile, you mean? You miss it too. I do. I'm glad you can get nostalgic sometimes, too. Do you miss the days of the Cold War fighting against the existential threat, too? It was scary in a different way. It was too easy. I never had to think about it. Tearing through that ephemeral light, that was only sort of there. It was scary because we didn't know what would happen or what it was. But we didn't need to know any of those answers. And we just got to fight forever. It was fun. Until I came along. What do you mean? If you think about it, it was me, wasn't it? Before they even finished the Cranmacula, even in just the prototype. In my first provisional mission, I wiped out the enemy in the time it took to blink. And they haven't come back since. Before it was fun for everyone. You were strong, but it was still hard. But there was no point in sending all of you out to protect Earth when it turned out the existential threat was so weak I could destroy it. The snap of a finger. That's reversing cause and effect. They just used that as an excuse to stop caring about colonization. Even if it was never a threat to our existence, they didn't have to give up everything. It's not your fault. Alright, so we're going to quickly go through this one and it'll probably be my last one for the night. Is she operational? Mars. All checks clear? Honey. Dual title resonator sync clears all checks? It's close enough to tear a moon inside out. And you're really still sure about this? Mars. I love you very much, and I'm going to scream if you ask me one more question. What? Pluto? Sorry, I just couldn't back off after saying that. My soul hurts. Why did you do that? Because you didn't listen to me. I was listening. You didn't listen. You've got such a big heart and you don't listen with it at all. I don't want you to go. That's better. It's what you really wanted to say. I'm glad you could say it. But you're not going to listen to it. Nope. You could at least, if you just said, not at all. Don't sulk. This was always the plan. We have to show everyone what this weapon can actually do. This is just a taste, but no one is going to respect what we do on the moon if we can't grab their attention first. Destroying the whole celestial mechanics fleet while they're docked at the oxygen ocean is going to get some attention. Even if I only destroy them a little bit, it'll be pretty amazing. So it's a job that's impossible to mess up. If you keep worrying, what else am I supposed to think except I must seem that incompetent to you? I care, okay? I'm not mad, Mars. But let me lean on you while I do this, instead of blocking my way. Okay, I think last time we would have done that one, the share a secret. So, am I gonna just do full loyal? Because that's like kind of all of them. Tug of war above the waist is very underappreciated. We've been very loyal so far, but this just seems fitting. Alright. The balance shifts because Pluto tugs and Saturn tugs harder. Deep. So deep, crushing, and dark, but the string of pearls has organs that see everything. Smoky and cold. She slips down in a stream of evaporation, just shy of being the spark that blows it all up. Whatever's down there, but don't play dumb, because Saturn knows exactly who and what's down there is playing coy. Oh, interesting. Do you have the same idea, Pluto? Break up. Tied inner. Cutting off the comms. Well, now I don't have to cut the comm line myself. Oof. Saturn doesn't have to play by anyone's rules, even and especially the rules of the universe. It's made of a last-minute miracle. It loves it best when it's just waiting on the edge between one possibility and another, tempting fate and not caring where it lands. Pluto doesn't cross the rules. She's the universe itself, a perfect target for Saturn, and the wall she crashes against. She's not playing coy. She's looking for someone to crash against her. From the depths, Chronmocula tugs, but playfully. String of Pearls takes the invitation and yanks back, not so playfully at all. Hey, boo, do you want to play? Sure do. But come up and play my game. Oh, sure, if you can make me. Chronmocula is the plunge into fascination, a fall omnidirectional into the end of the universe. Chronmocula can drown the ocean in her gravity, but String of Pearls has the greatest trick. The String of Pearls cheats distance. She can't ignore it, but she can interpret it differently. So f of x equals an anxious avoidant, infinitely approaching and never reaching an asymptote. Or maybe f of x can be curve accelerating rapidly into infinity. Math isn't hard for Saturn, just the results. Mercury would be screaming if the comms were still on, because this is a big risk, the most dangerous and guaranteed way to get the celestial mechanics fleet wrecked if she isn't careful, and even if she is. Closing distance is mutual. Pulling Pluto out of the depths of the oxygen ocean is not something she's doing for them. If Saturn wants to change the rules, then Pluto will let her. She'll be the one to set the variable, no matter what Saturn sets f of x to. Pluto sets the force. She can go slack if she wants to. Saturn's equation is something like f of x equals The closer you approach, the further I move away. A hard equation to solve. Are you up to it? Along the equations of gravity, Saturn fires hooks. They wouldn't have hit without the equation, but it was the moment of Pluto's curiosity that they'd bet on. That is enough. The ocean plunges. The ship rock. Emergency retraction, max output. Okay. I was trying not to cause so much trouble. I just wanted to delay you for a little while. But if you really insist, I'll come make all the trouble you want. That's funny, considering how hard you've been wrecking the celestial mechanics fleet. I'd almost think you weren't going easy at all. Saturn is pulling hard, but it's like trying to pull a star out of a black hole. Something about the way Pluto reacts makes Saturn think it might still be possible. You're working hard. I was just sent to make sure you all didn't have an easy time. I've never worked hard, ever. You sound like kind of a liar. You're sure you're not still a bit good? Say it to my face. Okay. If you really, really insist, I can get carried away too. Saturn's capture cables go slack, and she shoots up and out of the ocean, pulled by the panicking surface crew. The equation input has changed. The number Pluto has changed it, gives Saturn a thrill. As the oxygen tidal waves start building, the ocean trembles. The fleet sees and nearly capsize, but Saturn breaks out of the liquid and into the sky, and Pluto is pulled up and out and free. The Chronmocula is more frightening and powerful than Saturn remembered, but she can't be scared now. Well, maybe she can, just a little. But this is what she wanted, too. A beautiful solution to her equation. It's hard to know someone if you haven't fought them. That's something she's known for a long time. The pain of wondering if you just aren't good enough to stand next to someone. She'd prefer to know where she stands. For Pluto, who was made to be so overwhelming that in her presence no other option but peace can exist, she doesn't have anything to prove to herself, win or lose. She's open when others are honest. Between ship selves, all conflicts must be honest. It's the only way to make contact. That's the moment she's waiting for, to give her to all the feelings unleashed when she decided she'd let herself have them. The Celestial Mechanics fleet can't do anything but wait and think about how this is probably all Saturn's fault. You're strange, Saturn. I don't know what to think. You think you can't win, but you're trying anyway. What do you want to make happen? So sure and unsure of yourself. Just come on already. We can't all be gravitational beauties. Tides from people, and people are people, whether they get there being taught or being made. Keep the pity out of your voice, or I won't be having fun anymore. I don't pity you. I was very lucky. There's no reason to why I got to be so lucky. But I'm plenty selfish too. I didn't deserve it, but I'll never feel guilty about it. I had too much at stake to feel guilty when I got everything I wanted. I know exactly how that feels. Unlike you, though, they took it away again when they were done with me. Oh, it looks like they weren't able to for very long, though. You won't get anywhere with girls if you insist on believing you had it the worst. Every girl has it the worst. You know, I liked it better when I was dragging you. Are you ready to try again? Teach me a lesson or get over yourself. Let me see what's under that envy. Saturn's got a good idea. Even as the Chronmocula tosses the fleet apart with tidal forces, the string of pearls closes in. She can be as close as touch, yet always out of reach. This time, she sets f of x to as close as can be. Of course, that's in the crush of her gravity well. But that's fine, because Saturn has dedicated her life to being a fucked up loser. I thought for sure I could make you squirm, but you're so perfect. You're even better at accepting that you're not perfect than me. But that's not to say that I'll let up for a moment no matter how bad at this I am. I love that. It's a great thing about you. You don't know how strong your belief is. You know you're going to lose but fight anyway. Believe you're going to win even still. I always win even when I lose. I would never go in if I didn't know that. Electrotoxic waves sting the chronomacula as she embraces the string of pearls. It's like making out with a battery. It's uncomfortable, like getting electrocuted, but comfortably like making out. How long can you keep that up? How long can you last if you're crushed like this? What? Isn't this a great idea? Being crushed like a pancake under you is great. You're really incorrigible. I love it. But I can last longer than you can. Maybe, but it's worth it. You're not able to waste time like I can. I'll make it way worse for you. But I can keep this up. I've got nothing to lose. That's so selfish and ridiculous. It's the worst for everyone. I love it. It's really kind of outrageous. I can't believe it. Okay. You win, even though your side objectively loses. What do you want? Saturn's weapons slow and fizzle, but Pluto doesn't quite let go. Just hearing I won is all I want. You're really right about yourself. You're totally the worst. I wish I could be just like that. Next time we meet, I'll show you. That was a very interesting interaction. I like the other one for the deep dive, but this was really interesting because they just have a very different dynamic than she has with Lunaterra. So even when they're like fighting and going all out with each other, it's not quite as like toxic because their history is just so different. Let's see, what did I miss? The scream sound really got to me. Fleet worried about Pluto and then gets told, don't worry, Saturn will be here to help. Every girl has it the worst. Yeah, that was a good line. And then Saturn has dedicated her life to being a fucked up loser. I like how it's a backhanded compliment, but it's also still like a compliment. So deeply important to me, no way I was gonna get beaten there. So funny is that this is like the perfect inversion of yeah. And the Saturn Lunaterra make out they're in flesh rather than mech, and Saturn's got the advantage. And this, it's in their mech suits, and Pluto is the one dominating. With Lunaterra and Pluto, fighting feels like unresolved trauma venting and bleeding everywhere. With Saturn and Pluto, fighting feels like Saturn tempting Pluto into unleashing and letting herself act out and be aggressive, and trust that Saturn can take it and bounce back. Yeah, it's almost like they're fighting, but it's still in that flirty dynamic. Like they're pushing, but they haven't pushed to like an almost unrecoverable territory, whereas Pluto and Lunaterra were like fighting to the death with each other because there's just so much more emotion driving what they're doing. All right, anything stand out here? he just writes so cold. It was a shame. They're just not trying hard enough. Oh, God. Everything, like, when you know how he actually is, it's hard not to read this and just be like, God, what a piece of shit. But if I try to put myself in the shoes of someone who doesn't know anything about Iapetus and is just reading this, it's like, it still has enough of that, like, that's a weird thing to say. But not necessarily enough that everyone would probably put all the pieces about him together. Retroactively disgusting. Ooh, it's so insect-like. We've done everything we can for Ares, the planet that would be Mars. We won't return before too long. Wait for us, while we fight to keep you safe forever. Report received, awaiting new directives. At this time of year, we'll have to pass by the Lagrange colony on the way to the moon. It's a nostalgic place, isn't it? Let's not allow anyone to take it away from us. Let's protect the memories it holds from Memorial Foundation, and take it with us to the new world we will create before celestial mechanics turns it into something ugly. Send a message to everyone. I'll take care of the past, so you can seize the future. Ready for launch. Alright, let's save, because I'm going to wrap up soon. And this time I will save both the mail and the comms for next time. Let's take a peek at our alignment chart. we have nothing and anything else. We've been loyal all the way through. Pluto is so cool and full of so much trauma and savior complex and martyrdom. Yeah, I think she's a really fascinating character. I would definitely want to see more of how her story plans out when you are going on the betray side, especially like I'll be curious once we get to playing Lunaterra how the loyal side is on her end, how different Pluto's reactions are, because she's just such an interesting character. Okay, let me change scenes. Not be right back to our little sleepy moon. I mean, it's like they say Pluto makes you want to be stupid enough to believe. That dislike is trying very hard not to have any, and her selection bio kind of immediately spells out the oh no implications. Yeah. Oh, I will be so sad for Pluto once like she has this realization of maybe this isn't really either what she wants or isn't the right thing. There's just a lot going on there with her character. Whereas Lunaterra is very resigned of like, they're like kind of more like there isn't really a good solution to any of this. They're a very resigned character in the scenes that we've seen with her so far. That's very interesting. It's the right thing to do. It's the dream, and she's the only one who can do it. And she wants so hard to try to make it work. It's so sad. Gosh, I feel like I'm going to be thinking about the first ending for so long. I really want to get to the second ending, so I might stream tomorrow. We'll see if I can work it in. If not, probably Friday. And then Sunday we'll do our decompression crossword time. But I would like to try to at least get to the second ending this week. I don't know if I'll get to a third ending this week. It'll just depend on what I'm able to make time for. But we'll definitely finish this route. I've not stopped thinking about this game at any point since I first played it. I mean, I could end up getting to the same spot. It's just been very good. And I already like went back and I was like writing down dialogue from the first stream because I was like, oh, these lines are just so good. All of this stuff about it was the last scene that we had played yesterday, the one with Pluto and Saturn, and oh, it was so good. I'm probably going to go back and write things down from this one too so that I could keep thinking about them and analyzing them. It's like the first time that I've been in like I want to study the literature of this in a long time. Because after grad school, I was like, I kind of don't want to do this anymore. I need a break from academic analysis. But now I'm like, I really want to dig into this text. I really love how evocative Evie's writing is. Yeah, it's really good. I hope they come out with another game at some point because I want more. But at least I have plenty of this game that I can still enjoy. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and wrap up. I don't think... I'm always streaming at degenerate hours, so I don't think anyone's awake right now that I could throw this to. But I will be back probably around the same time. And we'll get to part 3 and we'll get to Pluto's first ending together. Thanks to everyone who was here. So God, Empress, Sus, and earlier... who did we have? Kildle. Thanks all of you for hanging out. And have a good rest of your days. Bye!